Hey, Josh Williams here, and thanks for checking out this week's episode of the One Man Podcast. It's available on many platforms, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, and many more, as well as on the website onemanpodcast.com. Please like and subscribe. It's 100% free, and while you're at it, give it a rating and leave a review. I'd super appreciate it. To follow us on the socials, search One Man Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. That'll give you some bonus content. Finally, to get in touch, please send your email to contact@onemanpodcast.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy this week's episode.
I'm K. Trevor Wilson from TV's Letterkenny, and you're listening to the One Man Podcast.
Yeah!
Hey, it's Josh Williams here, and welcome to the One Man Podcast, episode number 101, just like a school course, for Wednesday, April 17th, 2019. How's it going, onesies? Welcome back. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry that the last episode was still me sick and coughing in your ear. Tried to make 100 good, but it wasn't as good as I would have liked to have been. But you know what? I don't normally start these episodes off by shitting on the last episode we're on. This is a new week. Not a lot of time since the last one. Of course, the last one being the very first episode that was late. But even though I remember I mentioned that on episode 100, I think I did have something for you on Wednesday when you woke up. So, it wasn't really a big episode, but I wonder if it counts. I wonder if it counts as being late. Listen, guys, I'm joined once again by my good friend Chris. I'm at Chris's place. We're recording this episode. So instead of me just yammering on by myself and not quite opening the door for him to come in yet, I just want to say, hey, Chris, thanks for doing this with me again.
Not a problem.
Yeah? Glad to be back?
Oh, of course.
You and Crystal are the only two people who've ever done a secondary, a second swing at the co-hosting.
All right.
Did you have fun last time?
Oh, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah?
Fun times.
Do you know what we're going to be talking about this time?
I don't have a clue.
No, me neither, actually, because there's not a whole lot, as a matter of fact. Because, again, it was only like 4 days.
Was it 4 days?
4 days, yeah. 4 days.
Well, I listened to it yesterday, so...
Yeah, it seems pretty fresh to you. I didn't do a whole hell of a lot last week, but I'm going to tell you guys, I did spend some time with Crystal. I hung out with you yesterday, Chris.
Yep.
And I have a new car issue. Yeah,
yes.
Just when we thought I was out of the fire with my
brand new
issues.
car issue.
Yep. I should wait till I have a really benign issue and then not get it solved, because as soon as I get an issue solved, a new one comes up.
Yeah.
So
it's like putting on a raincoat and then the rain stops. You take it off and it rains again.
Isn't it ironic?
No, is that irony? Is that
irony?
Is that irony?
Yeah. Well, you're not allowed to use big words anymore. You're on a vocabulary timeout. Yeah. So there's not a whole heck of a lot in terms of that. I mean, if I just throw it to what I've done last week, I got my digital fingerprinting done on Friday morning for Air Canada.
Fun. You're on file now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they said that I'm not.
Who do they share it with?
It's basically to run through the RCMP's database to make sure I'm not in international terrorism.
So no DNA though?
Yeah, I'm not an IT guy.
No cheek swab?
Nope, no cheek swab. Yeah, no. And the funny thing was I said to them, like, I don't know if I mentioned this in the podcast last week, but you'd be the authority right now since you're the most recent one to have heard it, is I didn't like the idea of giving them my fingerprints.
You did mention that.
Yeah. And then not having the job yet. Like if they're like, we want to offer you the job pending this, cool. So I'm going to give you my fingerprints. I know I'm clean.
Is the fingerprints, I guess it's in case, instead of searching your name, it's in case there is a crime that you may have committed that they don't know who did it?
Maybe. I don't know.
So they're working with the police.
Well, RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Still police.
Yeah.
That's fucking sneaky. And if something came up, then all of a sudden they got you.
Well, and here's the thing too. Well, yeah, I mean, you'd have to be a pretty stupid crook to do that. This is what bothered me though, is I think I'm trying to remember here. I'm already having my first fucking brain issue. I said to the guy, I'm like, I don't want to just give this information, have it swirl around your system. They go, well, we don't share it with anybody else. It's just to contact the RCMP. It was like an outside company that does this. Mm-hmm. Cause he said, if you get the job from Air Canada, you're going to have to go give them your fingerprints and shit again.
Which is fine. You got the job though.
If you get the job.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Did you get that in writing though? That they're not going to sell your information?
No. No. You don't get anything in writing nowadays. No, you don't. People make mistakes. But here's what bothered me. Most people are like, well, who cares? If you have to give them to them eventually, you may as well give it to them, get the job. I did. Reluctantly, but I did it. But my big issue is like, I've read articles from the bathroom readers on this very podcast where a clerical error was the difference between someone spent 7 or 8 extra years in jail because they had a 20-year sentence. Their 20 years was up, but whoever put their date of, commencement into the file put like the wrong number, one number off, and it made it look like it was a decade later that they started their sentence. So when the guy's like, hey, I've served my time, they're like, nope, says here you started on this. You still have another 10 years to go. And
in the States, it's weird too, because I think once you enter prison, it's all up to them. From what I was hearing. Now, I could be completely talking out my ass right now, but I remember hearing one thing.
It's up to the prison or the person?
The prison. Whether your sentence gets reduced and all that is at that point up to the prison.
Really?
I could be wrong. I think I remember hearing that. So this obviously has no merit, what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
But that's what I think. It's
interesting if someone wanted to
I may have heard that during
the
Making a Murderer Part 2. They might have talked about it then. It was up to the...
Well, I do know this, that in the States, there's a lot of private prisons.
I think most of them are. And therefore, the longer you're in, the more money they make.
Right. So a lot of people here's the thing. I talk with Jason all the time, and Jason is... I know I've mentioned this before, but Jason's the guy who believes the government is your friend. Why would pharmaceutical companies not want to cure your ailments? Like this is real things he thinks. He argues with me about there being chlorine and fluoride in the water. He's like, well, fluoride's good for your teeth. I'm like, yeah, but it also has adverse effects on your brain. And if you're drinking eight glasses of fluoride water a day.
Do you know the reason for it?
No, you can Google it though. You can be a good producer. Great question, Chris. I'm sure you can find the answer.
So what am I asking? Why is there fluoride in water? Why fluoride in tap water?
Maybe Google the negative effects of fluoride in water.
Well, I'm gonna find out both. I'm not just negative.
Pros and cons of fluoride in water. So, but the idea is there's also chlorine in water. And yes, the pro is that it cleans it, but chlorine isn't something you exactly want to be ingesting all the time. And I don't know if you know this, but if you're using tap water to water your plants, chlorine isn't good for plant roots. It'll burn them.
In high quantities. The quantities in most times. I mean, we're not drinking Flint water here.
No, but I'm just saying that if you ever left a glass of water on the nightstand overnight,
I believe chlorine also
it off gases.
Yeah,
but that's what my point is. Have you ever left a glass of water on the side of your bed? You go grab it the next day. And
all the time,
bubbles all through it.
All the time.
That's the chlorine off gassing.
I spelled fluoride wrong.
Fluoride.
I just spelled it. I just spelled like flow.
Florida.
Yeah.
Why is Florida at the top of the charts?
It's pronounced Florida.
Yeah. Oh, it's not. It's spelled Florida.
Fluoride isn't natural. Okay, I'm not going to read this out loud.
No worries. Well, you can find the key points if you want. But here's the thing is Jason, like I said, going back to it, Jason's like, no, why would a prison want to keep people in longer? Like he thinks privatizing prisons and things like that is like a good thing. And I'm like, no, it's not. When my freedom is on the line and someone's trying to decide whether or not I get to leave and my leaving loses them money, why would I want those people deciding whether or not to go free? Like you could see the gigantic conflict of interest in the people making money. You being there are also the ones who decide whether or not you get to leave.
They didn't bullet form it. So instead of reading a whole lot of shit while still trying to listen to you, I'd rather we just talk back and forth speculating the pros and cons.
Yeah.
As opposed to actual facts.
That's right.
Those are
so
boring.
Going forward, you don't ask me, hey, why is that?
I can still ask you that.
Lesson. Sure, I don't know. But all I know is that at the end of the day, I got a roommate who's like, hey man, no, why would these people, and he believes it. He's like, the government's your friend. Why would the government want to, he doesn't see like the double, the two sides of it. Like I've mentioned on this podcast before, there's the reason for something and then the real reason. Schools have litterless lunches because they want to teach kids to not litter and waste, and it's not good for the environment. And then the real reason is they don't want to pay for extra garbage pickup. So it's just a way to save money for the schools.
Yeah, win-win. Win for the environment, win for the school.
Yeah, sure. Or it's a giant pain in the ass for parents to have to find alternatives. Like you can't give a kid a granola bar because that's a litter. They open the granola bar in the package.
No, we send them granola bars.
Cool. You're at a school that doesn't have litterless lunches. But I'm telling you, imagine if you couldn't do that anymore.
You just open it up at home, pop it in a container.
Right. But that's what you have to do. You have to pop in a container.
Maybe you're only allowed so much litter because we don't send them with bags or anything like that. We send them with containers.
Litterless lunches. So
edible wrappers. New thing.
You can go on Dragon's Den with that. But all I'm saying is that I made the kids, I put the stuff and Crystal's like, yeah, you can't. They got litterless lunches. Like this is
It's weird that it's not board wide then.
They're in the Catholic school board.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So
glad I dodged that bullet.
I've bitched about that before.
Yeah.
Not them being the Catholic school board, but just the whole litterless lunches thing. But again, it's not because of the environment. It's because they don't want to have a bunch of extra garbage pickup and have to pay for that.
Yeah.
Right. What were we talking about before?
You can do compostable though.
Sure.
Out of wrappers.
It's not litter though.
No, I know, but that's what I mean. I meant as a company producing different foods. Like which fast food chain did it? A&W.
A lot of them are
all of
now
their
with
wrappers,
paper
all of their wrappers
straws and
and
everything.
Yeah, but they're all everything like all the wrappers say compostable right on them.
Right.
Which makes sense. Any paper product's compostable.
But a school isn't going to have.
You're actually better off to compost your paper than you are to recycle it.
Yes. Did you watch Penn and Teller's bullshit?
No, I actually just thought about it and it makes sense because to recycle something requires you to fire up machines. It requires
right. You have to
these
pick it
are
up. There's
fuels.
a ton of chemicals. Believe it or not, like there's a great show. I don't know where you can find it. I think you can find it on Crave called Penn and Teller's Bullshit.
Okay.
And it's Penn and Teller, the
duo.
the musicians, the magicians. They magish.
They magish.
And it was funny because the whole series is like them attacking certain things, like finding the bullshit in it. And they did a whole episode on recycling, saying that it's actually more expensive to recycle things than it is to throw them away.
Yeah.
And the guy that came up with the concept of recycling and saying we're going to hit this worldwide, blah, 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 blah. The guy who said it outright admitted later that it was something he completely made up. He had no research or facts on it. He did it as like a campaign running platform that, this is a thing that we should do. And they actually proved that landfills create gases and stuff like that they use to fuel homes and create energy and stuff.
Speaking of talking without actual facts, I've also heard...
I wasn't speaking of that. They have facts.
No, his guy. No, you were saying, like, didn't he admitted to...
Oh, this guy was like, I don't have the facts to support what I was saying. It was
here's some facts. Here's something I'm saying that I have no facts to support.
Okay.
Someone told me this as well, that when it comes to like, I don't think cans, but plastic recyclables were apparently being shipped to China where they would take care of it, but they've fallen behind. So they've just got like vast fields of cubes, like, like skids of wrapped up plastics that have now degraded too far because of UV light that they are now recyclable. You can no longer recycle them. So
like that BPA shit is like leached into...
Well, I don't know if it's BPA. It's just, the sun degrades plastics. And then to a certain point where you can no longer break it down and use its polymers to create new plastics.
Did you see there was a YouTube...
I don't know if that's true. That's what I was told recently.
Right. Who told you?
A hobo.
He was yelling at the sky.
Yeah.
He just you caught a piece of his TED talk and you're like, this is I put that
write this shit down.
Put that in the brain bank. Make sure I can come back to that later.
It was that one that hangs out at the highway in Parkdale when you get off the ramp.
I find a lot of them do their talking on cardboard.
Yeah.
They let the cardboard do their talking for them. Jesus. Yeah, there was a video I saw a while back. Some guy had created a machine that like heated plastics and turned them back into like a burnable fuel. Did you see that?
No.
He like puts a bunch of like plastic bottles and plastic things, straws, all this sort of thing. Heats up and like you see like a tube that's got like this liquid that starts to come out of it. I think it's like the petrochemicals or whatever come out of it, and it pours like into a little metal plate. Looks like one of those prison dishes from like the 1940s. Yeah. Right? But like a metal plate, pours into that, then it goes up front and puts it on his front step and lights it on fire, and it sits there and it burns. Like basically converted the old plastic back to oils and made it. And that's a video I saw. So
another thing some communities have.
He'll probably get murdered if they're like, hey, we can't have people fucking recycling the fuel.
Well, another thing communities have, I don't know which ones, but it's instead of landfills, they put the garbage into an incinerator. Now apparently you can get scrubbers for the smokestacks, which takes a lot of the pollutants out of like the negative gases coming out. Mm-hmm. But then they'll use whatever heat they're producing, to fire up boilers, and then whatever's around them. Like let's say there's a hospital nearby, they can use that hot water to completely heat that hospital.
Oh yeah,
and things like that. Yeah.
See, there's uses for it, man. Recycling is just like.
But when you try to pass that off, like when you go to put it to a vote, like in a community or a city, and like, all right, here's what we're gonna burn our garbage. Fuck no.
Right.
Because you hear burn garbage and it's bad. And it might be bad. I don't know. I mean, yes, burning stuff is bad, but what's worse? Well, having it sit around and leach into the earth, or having to go, like, both ways are bad, but one of them will probably tip more towards the lesser of the two evils.
Right, of course. Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to check out that Penn and Teller's bullshit, because the whole episode about recycling. After that, I was like, no thanks. Do you know what the hardest thing in the world to recycle is to me?
What?
Is a Pringles can.
Yeah, what do you do?
It's got like a paper tube. There's a metal ring on the bottom and then a plastic lid. And I'm like,
well, the plastic lid's simple, but the metal tube, you're like cutting it off.
No, see, that's not my.
But also, the paper tube wouldn't be recyclable. You can't recycle that kind of paper. And like pizza boxes go in your compost. If there's any kind of food contamination whatsoever, it can't be recycled.
Really?
It won't be recycled. It like the oils or something fuck up the recycling process.
Did the hobo tell you this?
Yeah. Yeah. He was a smart dude.
Okay, so where did you hear that?
That one there, Same guy that told me about the plastic. So it's a buddy of mine who I used to work with I'm actually going to be working with again. I had quit my job, worked for another company, and then quit that bullshit job, and I'm back with these guys.
You go back.
But he seemed to know what he was
crawling
fucking talking
back.
about. He was a pretty smart dude.
All right. Hey, well, fuck. That's the thing is nowadays, like I said, I've said this in the podcast as, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see.
I take everything with a grain of salt.
Of course.
Like you're talking about this Penn and Teller thing, entertainment. A lot of it might have merit, but I would take the whole thing with a grain of salt no matter what.
Well, Penn's he's actually a really smart guy, Penn Jillette, and he's like an avid atheist too. And just not, and
I've seen his debates with people. They're hilarious.
Yeah, but it's not. He doesn't come at it like a lot of atheists are very condescending and pompous.
Yeah.
He comes at it from not so much of a like, hey, I'm an atheist because it's stupid. He doesn't attack religion. Yeah. He just says the amount of humility in religion is like non-existent.
Yeah,
religion doesn't leave room for doubt. You know what I mean? I think he, as a matter of fact, there's an episode of Crashing that I saw recently with Penn on it. It was only in it for like 2 minutes.
I have not watched that, but you told me. Which one is Crashing again?
With Pete Holmes.
Okay.
Did you ever watch the College Humor Badman videos? And it's like Batman. These videos where Batman can't stop talking about sex and...
Bat Dad?
No, not Bat Dad.
Not Bat Dad?
That's just Vine videos. I've seen those too. They're great. Yeah. Badman, you got to check it out.
Okay.
All of you need to check that out. So it's a comic named Pete Holmes.
Yes, you have spoken of him before.
And Pete Holmes is like a very clean comic. He's goofy. He's silly. He's a very nice guy. Like every time I think like, can I be a happy person and do comedy? The person in my head, I'm like, Pete Holmes does it.
Would it be like... would you consider John Mulaney to be that type of comic?
No, John Mulaney...
He's not dirty, though, John
Mulaney is also several times in Crashing, by the way.
Yeah, okay. He does swear the odd time.
Yeah, Mulaney's clean. Proper. No, he looks proper. He dresses in a suit so you get away with more. It's optical illusion.
He's very far replaced from like... what's his face there? Louis C.K.
Yeah, of course.
He's very far removed from that.
But I'm saying that, like, I don't know if he's that far removed away from it. He's not talking about jerking off every 2 minutes. But Mulaney will swear. Mulaney's not a clean comic. Mulaney's just not filthy or dirty.
Yeah, he's not purposely. He doesn't need to swear as his
right.
thing. Yeah.
And anyone who doesn't know who John Mulaney is, he's one of the main characters on Big Mouth on Netflix.
Yeah.
He's Andrew Glauberman, I believe his name is.
He is actually a co-creator of the Stefan character from Saturday Night Live.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, well, Bill Hader.
Yeah.
He was a Weekend Update character that came on. He's from.
Oh, is he the Italian white suited guy?
No. He always wore a colorful shirt. He was what was that movie with Macaulay Culkin? Seth Green was in it about like the party boy of New York.
Party monster?
Might be called that.
I don't know. Macaulay Culkin? I don't know. Fuck.
Yeah, it
did not hit. How far we are from John Mulaney right now? We weren't even talking about Mulaney. We're talking about Pete Holmes.
No, but we're talking.
Now we're talking about a Saturday Night Live character co-created by.
But he always did this thing. He like cover his nose and like he'd be like, "This club has everything," and then the punchline was always about like a midget that rides on your back and like you put like stuff in him and he's like your backpack luggage or I can't. It was,
So you think this character is probably more recognizable than Andrew from Big Mouth on Netflix?
No. I was just Stefan. Yes, for anyone that watched Saturday Night Live, they would know who Stefan is.
Okay,
he became popular enough that they made a pop vinyl out of him.
Right. Oh, fair enough. Okay. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live hasn't been funny in a very, very long time.
I agree.
But yeah, so Mulaney is in Crashing a lot with Pete Holmes, but there was an episode of Crashing where, because Pete Holmes was raised, I think Christian or Catholic, whatever, and he struggled with his faith or whatever, I guess, coming up. But he sits down in an episode, at the cellar, and Penn Jillette comes up, sits with him, and has a conversation with him about theology. Mm-hmm. And it's a very short scene, but it makes him question things. And I think the big point that Penn Jillette says is like all the kings, all the bishops and this and all these people from all these religions and positions of power, never had the humility to just say these 3 simple words, which is, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, well, what if I did, but I don't know, because all of them were so sure of themselves, whatever. You can't have that much certainty in something that you don't.
They had a sneaky way of saying it. What's Lord works in mysterious ways. That is a way of saying, I don't know. I have no answer for you. Trust in the Lord.
Right. But it's still not humility.
Yes.
If you have to disguise your, So anyways, but it's fascinating. And here you are and I are discussing theology again. That's our hot topic. I was telling you to watch Crashing. No, we brought up Penn and Teller. Yeah. I brought up Penn Jillette, but he's a well-spoken, and despite the fact that they're, magicians, this show Bullshit has got very little magic to do with it. It's more along the lines of basically just a documentary series with Penn Jillette narrating, but It's really, really well done. A lot of things. Like, there's a whole episode on bottled water. You know, and they have funny little, you know, I don't want to say sketches, but it's like funny little, I guess, clips where like someone will be in a restaurant and they're offering them different, like nice fancy waters. And it's like, this one comes from the Alps of Belgium. And it's,
do the Alps go through Belgium?
Fuck, I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Dude, I don't know anything. Welcome to the I don't know
right.
anything podcast. No, but it's like, I was going to say the Alps in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Swiss
Alps, French Alps.
French Alps. Yeah. So, okay. Isn't Belgium Frenchish?
Yeah, that's where Tintin's from.
Okay.
The comics, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know if he himself is in Belgium.
He's not a real person, is he?
No, he's a cartoon
So
character.
then he's
a
not
comic strip. But the books, the creator, they're Belgian.
Oh, I see.
Like the original language was in French.
That's
like
where Stella's from,
being
right?
called what is the dog's name in English? Is it Snowball?
Fuck, I don't know. I
think
never read
it's Milou.
Tintin. It was a weird, stupid character.
It was weird.
It was a man Caillou.
The latest the Peter Jackson 3D animated
see
cartoon.
it.
It's good though. It's actually decent.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
I never liked Tintin, so I was like, oh, I can't wait to watch a 3-hour Peter Jackson movie about him.
I like the
Next.
idea of those investigative journalists.
Is that what he is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He gets into like all kinds of fisticuffs. And
I thought he was
shootouts
just.
because
I thought he was
he's
just
trying
a
to get a
gay
story.
Indiana Jones.
No,
It's just like,
he's not an archaeologist.
shows up.
He could be gay. I don't know.
Fluffs the little tuft of hair in the front of his head, and then, come on, Muff Muff or whatever the fucking dog's name is.
Snowball.
What was it in French though? Because I went to a French school, so all the Tintin books I saw were French. So he was extra effeminate because they were all
I'm
in
on
French.
it. I know it's not a translation of Snowball.
Okay, so
Balle de neige.
anyways, check out Penn and Teller's bullshit. I know. I think you can find it on Crave. I believe it was a Showtime show, but there's several seasons. But the water episode, they're basically just pouring tap water out of the back. You know what I mean? Like they're pouring tap water out of the hose in the back of the restaurant into like pitchers, and they're showing up and they're giving each one of them a different story. People are like, oh,
If you can't tell
I can
the
really
difference
taste the blood. And the guy's like, but people are pretending like they can taste the difference, and that's the idea. Is like you're acting like these bottles of water have different tastes, and they're all just the same shit.
So I googled Tintin's dog in French, and what I got was chien Tintin's.
She ain't Tintin.
It gave me the actual
translation
of Tintin's dog. That's not what I meant. Fucking Google,
That's funny.
dipshit. So it's snowy. It's Milou. Yeah, so it's Milou. It's snowy in English and Milou in French.
Red is messaging me right now, telling me I missed one plug edit in episode 100. So there you go. I guess when I was saying like, hey, I'm going to throw to somebody, and then I didn't. Then I didn't. But whatever. Hey, that's what
You
I do,
also
guys.
fucked
So
up on my email.
how so?
Thanks,
Guys. Come at me.
Yeah,
Come at
there
me.
we go. You wanted emails. Here's my verbal email.
So what did you happen? What did you do?
It was just when reading one of the emails. It was
what did you do? Was my
when,
question.
when I had brought up the sexuality in the saga, and I was like, and if the idea of Sir Lorsa Tyrell frolicking with the stable boy, and you said with the baby boy for some reason. I'm like, no. He didn't do that. It's not that kind of show.
Whatever. You had you know what's funny? You had quite a few typos in that, and I had to sort of read this. I was trying to get a little.
I even
to
proofread.
fix.
Hey,
to
you're
fix.
welcome for a fucking email.
Hey, and listen, I'm grateful. I'm just saying every now and again, guys, if I make several mistakes in an episode, so throw yours on the pile. All right. But it's yeah, man, it's a fucking endeavor.
So wait, what was she saying? She was just bringing.
She was just saying. Well,
so she obviously just finished it.
I also wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to. If I wanted to have those little plugs in, I wanted to make a collage of them, or just like, hey, it's K. Trevor Wilson. Hey, it's Rick Mercer. Hey, it's, like just different people.
And then have them all
DJ
say at the
Demers.
same time. And you're listening to the.
Oh, I wasn't. No, I was going to add them over top of each other, but just have like one of them finish it. So it's like, hey, it's Paul Meyerha. Hey, it's Chris Allen. Hey, it's DJ Demers. Hey, it's like, blah, blah, just like a bunch of names of people who are more successful than myself.
Yeah.
Who've been a part. So I'm also going to just keep adding more. The more interviews and stuff I do, I'll grab a collage of those. But I think maybe just start every episode. I don't know. Maybe I'll pick one for the beginning of this one.
The way you started this episode though was very much like a lot of them started. They'll do like their own little intro first, and then they'll do the official intro.
Yeah.
Like Nerdist always did that too.
Well, and I think that for the bonus episodes, I'll do that again. So rather than like, hey guys, this person has done this, and when I'm sitting right next to them, is maybe I'll record a little intro for the episode. Speaking of, have it just cut into the intro and then go into it that way.
Speaking of Nerdist, what is like? I never thought that Chris Hardwick was a comedian. What are your opinions on him as a comedian?
He's all right.
Yeah?
Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not.
Maybe
very good.
he's just too busy to have specials.
That guy
He's
works,
a pretty busy dude.
He works crazy hard.
Yeah.
He works crazy hard, like hosting Talking Dead, The Nerdist.
He was doing
hosting
Does he
Talking Saul. He was doing that too.
Oh,
It was
Talking
Better Call
Saul's thing?
Saul. Yeah,
Because there was
He
also
doing At Midnight.
but there was also Talking Bad. The Breaking Bad one. I think that's what
Oh yeah,
started.
but
it
that
all.
was
But he was
that's
doing
been
that
over for years.
He was doing that while he was also doing Talking Dead.
Yeah, oh yeah,
They overlap.
And then he did Talking Dead after because there was Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead.
Yes.
So he did both of
Fear
those.
the Talking Dead.
Then he did Talking Saul, which is
Yeah.
after Better Call Saul, right? Breaking Bad tie-in.
Yeah.
Then he was doing a show on Comedy Central called At Midnight.
Yes.
Okay. And on
That
top of
was
all
a
that,
decent
he's
show.
recording his podcast, The Nerdist.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention he's usually the host of a lot of panel shows at like San Diego Comic-Con and stuff like that. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
touring doing stand-up. Like the guy works crazy hard.
Oh yeah.
So, and it was actually really nice to see him being one of the few Me Too guys that they actually did an investigation and found out that he was not guilty of what he was accused of.
Yeah.
And got his job back, which is great.
Because a lot of times when those pop up, you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
you did that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, when it happened to Louis, I was disappointed, but
Yeah.
then he himself admitted that, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
You know, not to find another
Apparently that
controversial
tanked
subject.
a very good movie.
What? Secret Life of Pets 2?
Yeah.
Well, it's not him
No.
in this one. It's Patton Oswalt doing his.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, Patton's a good guy. But no.
Doesn't
It
sound
was a
like
movie
Louis.
with
And they're friends.
Chloe Grace Moretz,
Uh-huh.
and he was in it too. And apparently, it was one that was going to put her on the Oscar scene.
Oh, well. And what, they just canceled the movie?
Yeah, it was done, but they decided not to. Now it could be one of those things that comes out, 10 years from now.
Well, Jonah Hill
Straight to
had
video.
movies that were coming out like 5 years after he lost weight and he was fat in them.
Yeah.
Again, like they
Yeah.
filmed it and they were just like, let's just save it.
Did you try watching that Netflix thing with him and Emma Stone?
No.
It was bizarre.
I
couldn't get through
I
it.
don't watch a lot, but I really loved Crashing and I burned through that very quick. I enjoy Wentworth. It's like
Yeah,
Orange
you
is the-
brought
it's-
that up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
It's
Orange
the
is the New
original-
Black,
isn't it
but
the
not-
original?
I
It's what-
don't know. I got to look and see which one came first because they both started around the
I
same
think
time.
Wentworth,
But here's the thing, Wentworth, like
because
the newest
America's
episode's
becoming
200
very uncreative with things. They'll just pick from different countries.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Wentworth is in its sixth season. Orange is the New Black is in its sixth season. So unless one of them,
I'll do my producing.
feel free.
Continue.
Yeah, you can go to IMDb. Do you have the app?
No, I'll just
Makes it
fucking-
faster. Well,
I do have
IMDb
the
will
app.
tell you exactly.
It will
the
tell
year.
me. You're right. It will. And I do have the app.
Just makes life faster for you. But anyways, yeah, Wentworth is good. I found that Crystal was one who suggested it to me because her and I started watching Orange is the New Black together, and we watched it together as the seasons would come out. And then she said that she liked Wentworth way better. It was like Orange is the New Black, but it was a lot better.
So we don't want Wentworth Miller.
I don't know.
That'll give me no information.
It's the second one.
Wentworth Miller is the guy from
So
Prison
what is
Break.
it? 2013.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
it says 2013. That can sometimes be wrong. Let me actually go to the.
But see what Orange is the New Black is.
Yeah.
And then you just.
So it started May 1st, 2013 for Wentworth. Am I too close to this thing? I'm hearing some feedback. Okay.
Orphonic will clear you up a little bit.
God bless you, Alphonic. 2013. Motherfucker.
So they both came out around the same time.
So the next question is, it came out a month later. So the next question is producers.
But
creators.
there's the thing is you're gonna fucking. Does it say when the creator started creating?
It's weird. It doesn't have a creator.
We usually have like a writer or director.
Yeah, but usually you would have like who created it.
Right. But all I'm saying is if they came out a month later, you can't say, well, this one was first because at the same time, by that
Creator.
point,
So created by
Genji
Cohen. That would be Orange is the New Black. And Wentworth was created by Lara Radulovic.
and here's the thing is both of them have like a transgendered woman in the show. Both of them have certain characters that you can almost be like, that's the character from, the other, like I'm familiar with Orange is the New Black first. So my brain would go, oh, that's the so-and-so of this one.
Yeah.
But here's the thing is I found Orange is the New Black to get very, like, I didn't mind the humor in Orange is the New Black. The first season was interesting. You get this like, not rich, but like, well off upper middle class to, lower upper class, white girl who's, privileged.
Yeah.
And then she comes into prison and she's going to like bring that privileged mentality into prison. And she kind of gets checked real early, But then as the series went on, things started to be more funny. Like Suzanne's character, rather than being like someone who was clearly like a little nutty, to like silly and goofy and writes like sex space fiction.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? And then all the white meth heads like say dumb like Ricky-isms like Trailer Park Boys. Like,
Yep.
we should get a skeleton key. No, I don't want to get a skeleton key. I don't like skeletons. They scare me. It's like, like the jokes.
Didn't you say that was
would
only a
get-
problem with one season?
No, well, it got so bad in season 4 that I didn't want to watch anymore.
I think I stopped after
And then season
3.
5 was like the riot. and they got a little more serious, but still some of those dumb jokes.
Yeah.
And then season 6 like became raw again. Like it was serious.
Yeah.
Like, not still had humor, but it was a lot more serious. Wentworth doesn't go bananas. Like it doesn't go too far in one direction, but you can tell there's stakes there. There is some humor. Like it's a little lighthearted at times, but it's not, it doesn't make such a mockery of itself that you're not like, oh, they're not even in prison. You know what I mean? Like this is such a fucking stupid clubhouse in Orange is the New Black sometimes.
Can you see those shows ending properly? Not just because they're canceled?
It's hard. So I
guess when her sentence is up, maybe because she is technically the main character, the blondie. Technically.
Right. Well, she got out. The last season, she's on her way out.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry.
On her way out. So obviously something's going to happen to bring her back.
Well, no, she's in a vehicle on her way away from the prison.
So she's going to have...
Sorry for the spoiler if you haven't watched it yet, but that doesn't mean anything in this show because Tasty got out in season 2 and then she was right back in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She couldn't handle life on the outside.
But that's the thing, right? And it's the same. There's another character in Wentworth that gets out and is right back in after not long at all, right? Like if they keep following them when they're on the outside, you're like, well, this isn't going to last that.
Yeah, but then again, there's a lot of similarities between like The Biggest Loser America and The Biggest Loser Australia, so...
Fair. All I know is like, well, and the same thing. They do The Office and then The Office American version, whatever. Like there's a lot of shows that just get repeated from, the colonies.
I think The Office, the American one, they weren't playing simultaneously. I think The Office, like the BBC Office, was done with. Now, and also some people are like, oh, they just copied them. No.
Well,
Ricky Gervais.
A lot of the characters.
Ricky Gervais brought it over. He brought it over.
Okay.
He made a decision that he wants to make an American version of it
You know
because
that
he wanted to continue.
They bought the I guess the
I
rights.
could
or
be
something.
so fucking wrong with that, by the way.
No, it's fine.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
Do you know that Mr. D had the right spot in the States, eh? The Canadian show. It's like the first Canadian show to have the right spot to be optioned in the States.
Oh, yeah?
I think Will Arnett was one of the people that bought it too. But I don't know if they're doing it. We don't get all the American channels, but Mr. D was so popular that they're like, oh, we should get that.
To air it or to recreate it?
I believe recreate it. Not to air. Yeah, there's lots of shows that have been aired in this. Kids in the Hall is a Canadian show that got aired in the States. But no, to like buy it and create a US version.
Okay.
And that was a couple of years ago I heard that. So it doesn't look like they're moving on it quickly, or it's happening in a channel that we don't get or know anything about or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, I know because I'm a comic and a lot of comics are on that show. So like people were congratulating, everything about the rights. Anyways, point being, Wentworth is now, here's the issue that I've had. I've talked to Crystal about it too. Because when I first started watching, I was like, oh, I didn't like this. And she's like, well, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. I'm like, no, I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. Because you have said the same of me. Like when I nitpick a movie, you're like, wow, you really hold the movies to a standard. I'm like, yes and no. Like I will give a movie a pass on something as long as it's not so fucking ridiculous. Basically you bitched at me yesterday for not, but my Shazam distaste.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, I just didn't like the countering mythologies in it, which you were like, well, and you're like, and by the way, it's not another DC character that's an orphan and whatever. Yeah, you said it was another
Fawcett Comics.
Yeah, Fawcett Comics, and then whatever. But I'm like, that's still DC going, oh, that guy looks exactly like our guys. Okay, well, we'll buy him and we'll throw him on the pile of guys who's lost their parents.
But it makes sense. He was selling at the time, way back in the day when there was only like 3 superheroes. He was selling. So why would you buy a character to first off eliminate competition and then just eliminate him? If he's still selling, might as well print him.
I know, but nowadays when you're like, hey, want to meet another hero? It's like when Marvel's releasing a new hero, it's not like, hey, want to meet the 5th Spider-Man? Yeah. No.
It's another Batman.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just another guy who's
But that I guess that's also Batman's his thing. He's very good at mentoring and also at the same time very bad at mentoring.
But here's the thing, Batman isn't like the other guys. Batman's a lot like Iron Man in the sense that there's both rich guys who build their armor. Batman's the only one I find not to be like that.
That's why I said I liked Nightwing, because he is just a regular boy. But I was fascinated always by the Robins. I guess it's also because I like to go a little bit off mainstream. Everyone likes Batman. Well I like
you.
Robin.
Also like a superhero who's not so overpowered that everything's a joke to him. Like, oh, guys in a dark alley. Well, this is gonna be nothing.
Well, yeah,
I'll just walk up to them if they shoot me along the way.
They do tackle those issues in a proper way. Like you were saying, how Green Lantern, he's super strong and all this stuff. Yes, but all of their adversaries are also on that level. So it levels them out. There are Green Lanterns of Earth, but all of the Green Lantern comics right now, I think by right now I mean at least 5 years ago when I was reading them, with the exception of one of the Green, because there was like the Green Lantern Corps.
There's too many.
Hal Jordan Green Lanterns and all this stuff. most of them dealt with intergalactic Green Lanterns, and only one set of them dealt with the ones on Earth.
Yeah, but I think like a lot of stuff. And again, we were also talking about how like some people seem to be just like, if you like one thing, then you have to hate the other. Oh, I like Pepsi, so fuck Coke.
Yeah.
It's not necessary. And I do still enjoy, like, I love the Batman movies, whatever. Batman is a character that's like, yeah, he's got these powers, but really he's just rich. You know, he's a good detective. He's rich. His stories are more interesting. He can get the shit kicked out of him.
Big time.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the things that makes the Marvel characters so much, in my opinion, interesting, maybe not better, but more interesting than the DC ones, is that they're more relatable as characters. Like, even though Spider-Man has all these powers, Spider-Man can't stop a bullet.
No.
For the record.
No.
Like a lot of people, he's very strong and he can take a shit kicking, but he can't stop a bullet. You shoot Spider-Man, he's shot.
Yes.
You know? He's also a teenager, or at least started that way. He was a teenager with real world problems, couldn't afford to make money and this and that. So despite the fact that he's got these powers.
But he was an orphan.
Yes. Okay.
I don't think you can make a superhero without them being an orphan.
Of course you can.
Or a billionaire.
Of course you can. Absolutely. Wolverine is neither.
Who are Wolverine's parents?
Doesn't mean he's an orphan. He doesn't.
They're dead, are they not?
He doesn't know who's. Oh, for fuck's sakes, Chris! Parents that die doesn't mean you're orphan.
I'm pretty sure that's the definition of an orphan.
Also, later in the storyline, I think Peter Parker's parents turned out to be like international spies or whatever. And he had parents. He had Aunt May.
Probably in what?
He had Aunt May and Uncle Ben.
They have so many branching fucking storylines,
right?
Like multiverses.
But all I'm saying is that, like, if you pick a character like Rogue, or, you know what I mean? Like, they have powers. And the thing with Rogue is, like, she had one of her issues was she could never have a meaningful relationship because to even touch somebody would steal their powers. And
didn't she get her powers from Miss Marvel?
I don't know.
I think she might have.
And
by Miss Marvel, who I believe turned into Captain Marvel.
Maybe. You going back to the iPad?
I am.
You should probably just leave it open.
Because I do remember that. But anyway,
all I'm saying is, like, you got these issues. I find the characters more fascinating. Do you know what I mean? Black Panther, he's got powers, but again, he's not stopping a bullet. You know,
his suit does, though.
Yeah, but it's made of vibranium.
Yeah.
So you take him out of the suit, and he's got no powers. He also can't fly. Do you know what I mean? He can't. There's a lot of shit. He's not super fast.
Yeah.
He doesn't have super speed. Like, that's what I'm saying. Is like DC's like every superpower, install it in there. It's like the War Machine scene.
That's why I
showing him all the guns. Is that cool? Put all those in. Oh no, what was it? Well, he does that too. But that stupid scene from the XXX Vin Diesel movie trailer.
Yeah, I don't watch.
Where there's like it's a trailer. You see the trailers.
No,
it just shows a bunch of weapons laying around a car, and he goes, "I want you to put all that in there." And it's like, or
just give me two big guns with a whole bunch of bullets.
DC's characters are a bad Vin Diesel quote. Is what I'm trying to tell you. But that's the thing too with the Guardians. I could name so many Marvel characters that are not overpowered, and we're talking the main ones. Hulk, guess what? Yeah, he's super strong, but he loses his mentality.
Not anymore.
No, but I'm saying, when the character first came out.
But back to a character that no one probably gives a shit about.
Sure,
Rogue. For those that don't know, Rogue's actual power is that she wears gloves all the time because she can absorb your power. So this is a quote from the Marvel Dictionary. In a battle with Carol Danvers, who is Captain Marvel, the original, it goes on to say, the original Miss Marvel, Rogue absorbs her memories and superhuman powers. So that is where Rogue gets her powers from. So I guess
that's why she can fly.
Except she does not have the photon blast, whatever it's called.
Well, I don't know if Captain Marvel had them then either.
Maybe not. That was when she wore she
could have been Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel
now is like an elastic girl.
Did you know that the original Captain Marvel, a man? No, just kidding. The original Captain Marvel died of cancer. He didn't get killed. He didn't get killed by a supervillain. Whatever.
You're talking the Marvel one,
Captain Marvel, the male. Captain Marvel was not originally
when you said the original Captain Marvel, most people would, and then you say male, most people are assuming you're talking about Shazam. That's what I thought. I thought you were talking about Shazam.
Oh no!
So you're talking about in the Marvel
universe, okay. The original Captain Marvel got cancer and died. And in the last book, I think it was called it was a big event. It was the death of Captain Marvel, and it was all the Marvel characters visit him or whatever, including even as one last battle with Thanos in sort of a dream world.
Yeah,
it's Thanos visits him in his dreams, and they have one last fight there, and then Captain Marvel dies.
Yeah, for old time's sake.
But it was just interesting. Thanos is a big fucking deal. A lot of people didn't know who Thanos was until a couple of years. So a lot of people's first time ever seeing Thanos was at the end of Avengers.
Really?
When he turns and smiles, and I sat in the theater. Crystal was with me. I was like, "That's fucking Thanos." I go, "Are you serious?" They've just made these events, and then Thanos is what's getting interested. Now the whole world knows who he is.
Well, of course they do. Yeah.
But it's like, but that character, I'm like, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, that's the fucking.
Now that we're on this subject, because I was thinking about this later on as a point to bring up, Thanos, villain or anti-hero?
I don't know. Okay, so this actually sort of supports the conversation that we were just having, or still having, about the Marvel versus the DC stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and again, I'll still go see the DC movies, but I read an article.
But you will shit on them.
No, I'm going to give them a fair fucking review. Look, I didn't. There's Marvel movies that I don't love. Did I kiss Captain Marvel's ass?
You should have.
No, I didn't. And Red gave me shit for it. Yeah. But I just said that I didn't think it was a bad movie. I just didn't find like there was much of a character arc. And if anyone sees, have you seen it yet?
I did, and I do kind of agree. There wasn't much of a character arc. It was an enjoyable movie.
Well, you heard what I said about it, about how she went on and did what she was going to do no matter what.
Yeah.
It's not like she was cowering and she didn't listen. It's not like she never got up and finally at the end of the movie, she gets up. She got up every fucking time.
I don't think they took the time with the movie. I think they kind of, I don't know how long they took to make it, but I think they wanted to get the movie out so that the character in Endgame made sense. So they just pumped out a movie as opposed to giving it the justice it deserved.
Right. And in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Adam Warlock was going to be in it, and they decided not to have. He was going to be in the first Infinity War, but they didn't. They decided not to. Adam Warlock. Oh. In the stories, Adam Warlock is the one who ends up with the Infinity Gauntlet when they get it away from Thanos.
Okay.
Adam Warlock basically takes over,
but nobody's
as protector of the Infinity Stones and the Infinity Gauntlet. And he then goes on to create the Infinity Watch, trusting the stones to different people. Again. Drax actually eats the Power Stone, I believe it is.
God bless you,
the
Drax.
Power Stones inside of him or whatever. Yeah. You're eating a Zarg nut? No.
That Batista guy, he's fucking hilarious.
But you can't see me. Oh, also good news for anyone who did not know, James Gunn has been reinstated as director of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Again, because of Batista. Probably not.
No, they all wrote a letter.
Yeah.
They all wrote a letter to that. So the man who penned it and made such a success of the other ones is back and will be creating not creating, it's already created, but we'll be directing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They're back on track to have that movie made because it was looking like it was just not going to get made for a while.
Yeah.
But Thanos, the articles I was reading about, this is just a comic book podcast now. Sorry, anyone who doesn't.
It was
care.
TV as well before.
Sure.
Yeah, this is what you get.
Hey, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sipping my coffee. Are you enjoying yourself, Chris?
Yeah.
Are you having a good time?
Sipping my water.
Is that what that is?
It's water.
You didn't put gin or La Croix? That means nothing. You're going to upset Peter. You hate that. I read something that said the reason that the Marvel movies do better in terms of just overall feel and they tend to be better movies is that the villains in the movies make sense.
I think
and
also
there you can understand, you can actually relate not only to the heroes, but you can actually relate to the villains in the movies as well.
And maybe DC's trying too hard to differentiate themselves from those movies. They don't want to just put another movie and have it being confused with a Marvel movie. They want it to be like, no,
there's no question they're trying to be Marvel. The post-credit scenes that tie into the next movie. And
Marvel
like
did not invent that. End of credit
in terms
scenes.
Of no, but I'm talking about how
actually
Marvel,
DC gives you it respects the viewer a little bit more. They put those end of credit scenes like a quarter of the way through the credits. You know when
Marvel
you have those,
does too. They do one a quarter of the way and then they do one at the end.
Very end, yeah.
But DC will do that as well.
They don't have end credit scenes. Not very end. Yeah. If they did, they don't anymore.
Okay, maybe they don't anymore, but it's probably because it was like you're blatantly copying. And here's the thing.
Well,
this is what they did is Marvel was doing like at the end credits would give you a tease for the next movie. Here's what the next movie is going to be. And then DC did exactly the same thing. They would sit down and go, here's the people like at the end of Suicide Squad, she hands Ben Affleck, Batman, who is not in the movie. He was in the movie. Brief scene. Sorry. Yeah. Here's those files you wanted. And it's like the Justice League people. At the end of the Justice League people movie or whatever, then it's, the what do you call it? We're doing the what's the villain league? League of Shadows.
No.
Well, League of Shadows.
That is a thing.
There's a name for the bad guy.
Injustice League.
No. Well, fuck. Who cares? It's probably a stupid name. But the thing with the DC movies is their enemies are stupid. Like if you look at Suicide Squad, they're fighting these black coal monsters the whole time. The
only ones that aren't stupid are the ones in Arkham. The Arkham, like the Batman enemies are
sure. But where are they in these DC movies? They're not there. And Joker was stupid. And Harley Quinn was stupid. Those are stupid.
Harley Quinn wasn't bad. Joker, they fucked up.
She never jumped in a vat of acid with him or whatever.
She never did she?
No. But she did in Suicide Squad. She jumps in the same vat of fucking acid or whatever.
That actually, that I blame Warner Brothers.
But that's what I'm
But
saying.
they actually own it.
And the thing
they
is-
just fuck around too much.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, so in the movie, like, and who are the big bad guys in Justice League? Like the minions that they're fighting all the time are like rock, black, coal, crystal monsters. No feeling. They're fighting putties. That's what I always say. That's like they're fighting putties from Power Rangers.
Hey, work for Power Rangers.
Yeah, but it's just something faceless to fight for no reason. Pointless.
But I do believe
And then-
it's canon, though.
And then
they're all from that.
the Enchantress and the big monster. There's like, I have no investment. Oh, what are they trying to do? Take over the world like everything else. Oh, what was Steppenwolf trying to do? Take over the world. Destroy the world. Like it's like there's no. You look at the Marvel characters and the Marvel villains. They're not like, I just want to be the strongest in the galaxy. Like even though Thanos was trying to become the strongest in the galaxy, his reason for doing it was to bring balance to the universe.
Now
was
let's
to
bring this
try
back
to be
full
a
circle.
philanthropist. And
Does that
whatever.
make him a villain
Right.
or an antihero?
And it's the same as Killmonger in Black Panther. He wasn't trying to just, I just want to be the biggest and strongest. He felt like a world that was rejecting Black people, that was treating them like inferiors. Why does Wakanda have all this power and they let their people all over the rest of the world suffer? I want to take this power and help all my people. Right? Like it's not like, hey, I want to rule the universe. I want to be a big, like, dude, in Suicide Squad, every time you see the Enchantress, she's just standing in front of a fire dancing. Every time you see her, she's just standing there dancing.
She's enchanting you.
Everything was stupid.
She's enchanting
It
with
was
her moves.
stupid. And it was just, and that's the thing is, and then what happens in Justice League? Oh, a bunch of mosquito monsters and the worst CGI monster with the name of a rock band. Steppenwolf's character was named after the band. I'm not saying that they picked the band to name it after, but I'm saying you're trying to create a villain. What should we call him? Let's call him Steppenwolf. Oh, really? Is he like some sort of like rock kind
Are
of?
you sure
No.
he was named after the band?
Google time.
Who came first?
Because the band has been around since what, the 70s? Steppenwolf?
How long has fucking DC been around?
That character? Harley Quinn is like from the 90s, right?
Yeah, she's from the
She's
cartoon.
from the cartoon.
Yeah.
She was created in the cartoon, and now she's like their most popular fucking character. Every woman that wants a little bit of attention from their boyfriend is dressing like Harley Quinn, the Suicide Squad version. But anyways, I like the Marvel ones because the characters, you can understand what's going on. I found that the Captain Marvel thing with the Skrulls, wasn't that a nice little twist?
So Steppenwolf, the character, first appeared in February 1972. So then Steppenwolf, the band.
Okay. And if Steppenwolf the character came first, then we have to figure out what the name of Steppenwolf is in reference to, because there's no way the band named themselves after a DC shit character.
Absolutely, they could have.
They could have. You're gonna have to find the fucking answer.
Oh no, I won't be doing that.
Yeah, you will.
Okay.
You're gonna find part of the fucking answer.
Yes, I do.
I'm sitting here stalling to give you time to get your goddamn answer.
All right, so this is the rock band. Ooh, there we go. It's a Canadian American rock band, prominent from 1968 to 72.
Boom.
So what happened was when the band broke up, they didn't actually break up. They merged together and formed an evil entity.
So do you see what I'm saying?
Makes
That's how
sense.
stupid DC
Oh,
is.
calm your
They
fucking
make
nerves.
a character from another dimension or another, like from outer space.
If I had
and they name him Steppenwolf.
If I had
Steppenwolf.
so much passion about the hate of the thing as you do,
don't
I would
hate
I
it.
would nitpick the crap out of Marvel too, because they got their shitty stuff
Look,
too. I just can't.
Everybody does, but I'm saying right now, in terms of the movies, any question, Marvel is dominating.
But that is not.
Dominating.
But that is not the fault of DC. That's the fault of producers
Sure
doing a
it is.
shitty job. No, it's not.
First off, if you're
It's
going to go
taken out of their hands. If you were to talk about the creators of the comics themselves, they're probably not happy with
Justice
the results
League,
either.
the first Justice League movie, the character that they decide to make the main villain is Steppenwolf.
You said that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make
How many
DC
other villains
at
could have
fault.
been? Why not have a series of other villains? Do you know who Marvel chose to make the villain of Avengers, the very first Avengers movie? Loki.
I honestly,
Loki-
I did not know Loki before.
That's fine. I
those
didn't
movies.
either. Did you know that Loki was the villain in the very first Avengers comic? After they had done all the comics of the other characters, the first time they put them all together as the Avengers.
Who was the first Avenger?
Loki was the very first.
Who was the first one in Justice League?
I don't know. Why do you keep asking questions that you have to pull your iPad
Well,
out
because
for?
you are making it sound like that they're not
All
doing
I'm
the
saying
same.
is that they took the time to develop Loki as the character,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Justice League shows up. They have these magic boxes. Oh, gee, like the Tesseract. That's okay. That's okay, DC. You can steal Marvel's ideas till the cows come home. Just make
You're
your movies.
dripping with it, with fan.
Are you aware that they actually hired Joss Whedon, writer and director of Avengers, to come help and do reshoots and everything like that for Justice League?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. The guy's a good director.
Yeah, but when you're basically going, hey, can we have Marvel's leftovers? We just want to be you so bad, but pretend we're doing.
You're
our own
calling
thing.
him like sloppy seconds.
Yes.
He's a good director.
He's a great director.
Exactly. So
but
why
they
not
basically
go for
said,
a
hey,
great
we
director?
want to be like Marvel. Can we just get Marvel's
No, they
Avengers
said we
guy?
want a good director who did a good job with a superhero movie.
Well, listen, they didn't hire him to direct the movie. They hired him to come in and fix a couple things.
And he
write
didn't
it.
even do
and
that.
They came to have the story was there. It's like, I don't know what you want me to do with these fucking mosquitoes that are flying around. And the guy with 3 tesseracts, that's going to be your movie, Steppenwolf. Cool.
Why did they really hate Steppenwolf.
When they put on the shitty music at the end, why didn't they just put on like Born to Be Wild?
They should
or something like that. I mean, just
that would have
own it.
actually been funny.
Just fucking own it, right? Instead of having me go, it's blatantly obvious. Someone text me. I hear doodle ding. No, that was probably you because my phone's right here.
No, I'm on silent.
It
was totally me. It's my iPad's not on silent.
No worries. Doesn't matter. Doesn't bother me.
Go on. But anyway, back to Loki.
Hold on. Loki
No,
was
no,
the first.
we're done
and they
being
established. No, they established Loki.
Yeah.
He was in the first Thor movie. Okay.
Yeah.
So they established who he was. They established his disappearance. They established the Tesseract and what it could do. And they actually brought all these different elements from all the movies that they did. It's not just the characters, but they actually they took the time to build the characters and then they took the time to bring everything back into the story that made sense. And then they introduced Thanos, a storyline that they're actually building appropriately towards over the course of 20 something movies. All I'm saying is that clearly more effort is going into driving these characters, showing growth, showing change.
But I want to continue to push my point.
Sure. Which is
that is not DC's fault.
Okay, sorry.
That's all I'm saying. That is movie producers' fault who fuck up so
but you
many
don't think
different
DC
things.
has a say in what stories and characters? Because
Not the people that write the comics.
Well, because
Warner Brothers has all the say. They
Kevin
own
Feige.
DC.
Kevin Feige is the Marvel representative.
Okay, that's
who's responsible for all of making sure the stories.
Then Disney respects Marvel more than Warner Brothers respects DC.
Absolutely, I won't argue that.
Yeah,
and that's clear. But
that doesn't mean that DC's storylines are shit. The movie storylines.
I definitely think their storylines are shit. I do, because if I pick up a comic, Superman's still Superman, the Flash is still the Flash, Aquaman. Oh, and did you know that I thought the Submariner in Marvel, I thought he was a ripoff of Aquaman. Did you know that Aquaman came quite a distant second?
But if you keep comparing who ripped off who, there's ripoffs on both sides. That's just the nature of the business. Because Marvel
do you own stock in DC? Is that
no? But what I'm doing is we can't have a one-sided debate. It's boring.
Of course.
You need someone advocating for the other side.
Do we?
And that's what you do. Otherwise, we just sound like a bunch of fucking fanboys.
Well, I'm a fanboy for sure.
I know.
I already bought, dude, I bought my tickets before the internet crashed.
And I'm willing to wait till the next day to watch it.
You're not going to see the next day. Those tickets are going to be sold out.
No, they won't be.
Did you buy
That's
them?
what you said about Captain Marvel too, and I got to see that no problem. The next day.
That one. Well, it's because it's a woman lead. No, I'm kidding.
He does not speak for me.
I'm just reading what you wrote down.
Fuck Josh.
Yeah, it's funny.
But back to what I was saying.
What were you saying?
You got onto Loki, and I wanted to not segue away from, but onto something else. But then you just kept fucking bantering on.
But DC's movies do.
Fucking DC, pow, pow, pow.
Yeah, beat them up. Their fucking argument's not overpowered.
Loki is getting his own series.
I know that.
Okay,
People
but
are also saying
maybe the listeners did.
People's are saying, yeah, but it's going to be an ABC series. Like he's not getting his own series of movies. He's getting his own television series.
It's not ABC. It's Disney Plus. It's going to be streamed on Disney Plus.
Okay, but ABC is Disney. I don't know if you knew that.
Then that's also like saying that ABC made the Marvel movies.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No. But you don't think that the same,
I'm not sure.
I don't production teams that they use for ABC shows? Okay, so ABC is owned by Disney.
Okay.
That's where Jimmy Kimmel Live is.
Okay.
Owned by Disney.
Is Jimmy Kimmel ABC or NBC?
ABC. He's ABC.
Who's NBC then? No, I'm thinking that's Fallon.
Yeah, Tonight Show.
Yeah, that's
right.
NBC.
Well, did you ever wonder why the week before the Avengers comes out, all of the cast seems to be on Kimmel for some reason?
I would have wondered that if I ever watched Kimmel.
Okay. Well, you don't get on the internet and you happen to see, no, YouTube doesn't suggest you checking out.
No.
Okay.
They suggest checking out things that I usually check out.
Well, for like the whole week leading up to a new Avengers movie, generally speaking, all the cast is
maybe,
the cast is in like 4 characters per night are all on Kimmel and they do.
I wouldn't.
ABC, Disney owns it. Disney's promoting.
I wouldn't put off Loki based on just being ABC yet until you see it, because
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
They're probably but that doesn't mean it's going to be made for network. The reason they're probably putting ABC is because they're probably using their studios, but since they're making it for Disney Plus, it very well could have a higher caliber. Network TV is garbage.
It could, yeah.
They have their fan base, and that fan base.
But the problem is that now network TV watchers are moving to streaming services. So you have to make things for network TV watchers. Have you not seen the quality of like Netflix when they used to when a new Netflix show or movie came out? It was good. Mm-hmm. Now there's so much of it that you're
they got to because there's so much competition with other streaming services. They have to keep pumping out stuff and hope for a winner.
I don't think it's that. I think that there's a lowest common, like, let me put it this way. And this might not apply to you because you're a little different than me, but I can't remember the last time I saw a trailer for a comedy movie that I wanted to see. I remember where comedy movies would come out and I go, fuck, that looks funny. We got to go see that. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
All these Seth Rogen movies, whatever, like, oh, I'll come on you. I'll come, like the movie This Is the End, where they have this whole scene where like, oh, I'll come on you. I'll come on these walls. I'll come on your face. Oh yeah, well, I'll come on this. I'll come. Like there's like a scene where back and forth Danny McBride and James Franco are yelling at each other about what they'll come on. Crystal and I were watching it and the theater was dying laughing. Crystal and I were like, we had this sort of like slightly curled lip, like, what the fuck is... And everyone dying laughing. I remember both of us like, what the fuck? This isn't that. Everyone's dying.
One of the reasons
laughing.
they were probably dying laughing is because laughter is contagious.
Wasn't to us. I guess
maybe not to you.
Ones.
Yeah, because
if there's a Netflix
because you're jaded is why.
No, it's just that I like a little bit of wit. Like I can take a funny dick joke or an awkward thing, like a little throwaway line. Like yeah. But when it's like people are laughing, you don't say "come" like that. It's like you don't just say I'll come on. Like I'll give you a perfect example. Same movie, exact same movie. Michael Cera at the beginning, walking around like blowing coke in people's faces and stuff like that. He's like, "What's that in your face?" And blows coke in his face. Getting a blowjob and handing a juice box down a girl. Sip time. Like, I'm not saying that movie there's nothing funny about it, but I thought. Just I'll come on you. I'll come on this. I'll come on your walls. I'll come on your face. I'll come on. That's not funny.
But
that's
a Seth Rogen movie does not make the Loki TV show necessarily bad.
What I'm trying to say is that comedies and a lot of things they have to appeal to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
And so I'm finding that I'm seeing that in streaming. So you're right. Doesn't necessarily mean that just because it's on Netflix now, so it's not network. I'm saying that those network watchers, there's a reason that everybody's making their own streaming services because they realize that the network television is it. That's also one of the reasons that they fought to take away net neutrality. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Right, because they're like, well, everyone's paying this much and internet's nothing. How do we make all this TV ad revenue? Well, easy. You start charging more for internet. And when they start phasing that in, that's going to be fucking expensive. You're going to pay the same amount for your internet that you do for big cable packages, because if you want to be able to stream Netflix, it's going to cost you this much a month. And if you go to the social media package,
I think I'm preparing myself for that because there is not a whole lot of shit that I watch anymore. So if that ever became a thing, I would have no problem just saying, all right, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'll just buy the odd DVD if I had to.
Well, I like Crystal actually has a pretty cool way of doing it. What she does is, at first I was like, oh, that's expensive. Why would you do that? But she'll go to iTunes. I don't know if she does it anymore, but she was doing this for a while. Like when she was watching Walking Dead, she'd go to iTunes. She'd buy the season from them, and not like after the fact. If you buy the season ahead of time, then you pay like, I think it's like $40 or $50 for it, but you get the episodes as they come out. So when it airs, I think like an hour later or whatever, you get it, you can just watch it at home. So she's getting the shows as it come out. She's like, if there's like 2 shows that I watch, why would I buy a $20 a month cable package for one show?
Yeah.
And over the course of 5-6 months, as those episodes air, I've just paid like $90 for it, or I can just buy the one show and watch it when it is. And then I own it afterwards.
And if you're willing to wait even longer, like for instance, every season of Game of Thrones right now, except for the latest one, I believe is $25 at Walmart.
Right, but
if you're willing to wait that long, then it's even better.
Right, but I'm saying that if you have the option to buy buy a channel package for one show that you watch, like Better Call Saul or something, well, rather than paying $20 a month, so you have Showtime
But
and HBO.
you'll never buy just one channel either.
What's that?
It'll be always like lumped in with a whole bunch of other channels.
But I remember there was a time when I was buying a package. The only channel that I wanted was AMC on it for Walking Dead and like Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
And it was costing me like $9 a month or $10 more a month I got other stations that I didn't want to watch.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I worked at Bell, man. So like the cable companies know, okay, well, this station are popular. So lump it in with all these other channels. And that way, when you're charging them $15, they're not like, oh, why am I paying $15 for that one station? It's like, well, you're getting all these other ones.
Yeah.
But the idea is like they know what the big stations are
Absolutely.
and surround them with a bunch of crap nobody wants. So it was the same thing with the Comedy Network. Comedy Network used to be part of Basic, and now it's like 2 tiers up in Bell. Like if you
was
want
it part of
that.
Basic?
Originally, yeah. Like you ordered the Comedy Network as part of the regular one. Well, maybe not Basic, but like your who doesn't buy it.
Yeah, because Basic stopped.
like your
Back in the
CBC
day,
and
Basic
CTV,
stopped
yeah.
at like channel 28, and if you wanted
Right.
much music and more, you had to pay.
But I mean, like the first one that you buy that's reasonable that gives you like 70 channels,
Mm-hmm.
like they would be in that. And then now it's like in part of other packages. But my point being is that if you're going to be buying a channel for 9 months, waiting for a season of something, and you're really only watching 1 or 2 shows, you can actually own them on Apple, watch them when they come out. Not like you said, you can wait longer and buy them at Walmart, or you can own them when they come out.
Yeah.
And you're still seeing it live, but you're not throwing away all that extra money on fluff that you're not actually going to be watching.
I'm going to wait until they actually nail down a good system for downloads, like for buying shows digitally.
Right.
Because I don't like how there's too many different formats. Like you buy a movie that has a DVD, a Blu-ray, and a digital download. Well, you do that digital download. Are you going to have to use that ultraviolet service, which needs Flickster? Is it going to go straight to your Google Plus? Is it going to just be iTunes? Like it's annoying. So, and then if one of those companies goes out of business, what happens to your digital content?
Who knows?
I do know.
Well, that's why I buy through
happened.
Apple. I don't think Apple's going anywhere anytime soon.
Google is also a good one because Google's they're not going to go anywhere either. So what was it? The latest Spider-Man and I can't remember the movie, but anyway, their digital downloads went into my Google Play Store. So I feel pretty safe with having them in there. But then I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of cool because right on my TV I can access those. So I'm like, oh, I'll use all these other digital download codes that I never used before, the ones that didn't expire because I didn't wait too long.
Right.
And I started trying to do that, but now I'm like signing up for Ultraviolet, which also meant I had to sign up for Flickster. And I'm like, but I don't have a Flickster app on my TV, so I can only watch it on my iPad. And I'm like, this is fucking stupid. So until they actually agree on one format, I don't feel safe necessarily just buying the digital content. It's a waste of money, in my opinion.
Right.
It can be a waste of money.
Mika sent me a text message saying that his email was tongue-in-cheek. Brother.
Okay.
Brother goes, my email was tongue-in-cheek, brother. Now, I know tongue-in-cheek, so you know what? That's something that I'm going to look up.
You better, because I'm getting sick of it.
I know what tongue-in-cheek means. It means it's kind of like a little coy.
Yeah.
But
do you not have a bathroom reader that will do this?
that'll do what?
The origin of sayings.
Of everything? No. No, it's called the internet, Chris.
Okay.
What does tongue-in-cheek mean? Because I think he was making fun of me for eating
Maybe it's because you make this face after you say it.
without really meaning what one is saying or writing. That's what
Origin of the word tongue-in-cheek is what you want to look up.
tongue-in-cheek Wikipedia. The idiom tongue-in-cheek refers to a humorous or sarcastic statement expressed in a mock serious manner. That's how I figured it more. But yeah, so
I thought you wanted
basically Chris. I figured he was teasing.
I thought you wanted to know the
wasn't
origin
lost
of
on
the
me.
word.
No. I just wanted to make sure that I was understanding it correctly. So obviously he's just like I figured he was just poking fun at me for eating, egg rolls 3 times in a week, and I don't feel bad about it. They were
Egg rolls
delicious.
2 times in a week isn't actually that bad.
And it's funny. You know what I actually saw right while I was prepping this up? You were outside. Is somebody in Toronto who works for SiriusXM who's from Ottawa. He just took a picture of a shipment that his mother had sent to him in Toronto at the office. Just said, to Ben at SiriusXM, blah blah blah, the address or whatever. And it was from
Golden Palace.
Golden Palace. So she sent him the egg rolls. I guess. I mean, it might have been other stuff too, but I would imagine just here's a bunch of egg rolls and he'll cook them up in Toronto. They are absolutely outstanding. Anyone in the Ottawa area needs to try those. Have you had those?
I have not.
Really?
I may have when I was a young lad, but no.
They're so goddamn good.
Yeah.
We gotta have those. We can move. I think we can move on.
Sure.
I don't even remember. We were bitching about how terrible. Both of us in complete agreement how bad DC was, and but yeah, dude, I'm looking. I think to what we were saying was just basically is Thanos an anti-hero? I guess it depends on what you think. I don't know if he's an anti-hero. You know what I mean? But I think that like, cause like Bill Gates is exactly on the same boat, right? Too many people, only so many people should be around. Like Bill Gates is a total get rid of people. I want to say to an extent that I'm that way. I'm not like we should kill half the planet's population, but I strongly believe like, all right, stop fucking everybody. You know what I mean? Like we have a finite resource. I have done a joke on stage lately where, I don't know if I said it in the podcast, but on stage, I'm pretty like, I'm not like mean, but I'm pretty blunt about it. Like, when people are like, "Oh, we just had 2 kids," no, we're not creating any harm. We just replaced ourselves. I go, "No, you didn't. You didn't replace yourself. You added 2 more people to the planet for the next 40 years, right? Like if you were standing in line for tickets and someone let 2 people in front of you and said, "Oh no, we just replaced ourselves." I'm like, "No, you're still in line. Get the fuck out of the line. Then you've replaced yourself. If you get replaced at work, you don't get to keep coming back for the next 40 years doing your job."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like basically when I hear parents go, "Oh, we just replaced ourselves," that's them go 2 + 2 is 2. That's what I hear coming out of their mouths. And it's not to say
what it is. It's maintaining. So it's not population growth. It's maintaining the population.
that is not.
It is because
If you died tomorrow, it's maintaining the population. It's adding 2 more. And that's the
it's
biggest
at the moment. But if you take a larger swath of time,
okay.
that means that the population. So if everybody just had a child to replace themselves, the population would remain the same.
Right. But that's not the case.
No, because they're not doing that. But if they did, the population would not grow. You would not
your
overpopulate.
kids are going to have kids before you're gone too.
But-
so now 2 has become 6.
But not really, because it's been, yes, 2 becomes 6, but it doesn't increase the population. If over 100 years, if you look at the stats that way, the population would remain the same, because at all points in time, there would have been a grandchild, a parent, and a grandparent. There would always be that. Maybe a great-grandparent as well.
Maybe, but that's not the case. Some people are breeding way too much.
I agree.
But
I'm just saying that I only had
humanitarians like myself.
I only had 2 kids, therefore I'm not adding to population overgrowth isn't an accurate statement.
Well, and that's the thing is that like, oh, we just replaced. I think that we just replaced ourselves. And honestly, the truth of the matter is, it isn't just we just replaced ourselves. No, we've only made 2 more.
Yeah. I guess I'll cut to the chase. So when I asked that question about Thanos, I wouldn't call him a hero, but I would say that his
goal is sustainability.
His goal is, I guess, in the end, just if once he did it, he also killed himself. Take yourself.
You think so?
Why not? All of a sudden, he made the universe more livable for himself.
Well, no, he said it was
all these other people could disappear, but I'm not going to disappear.
He said dispassionate, so he didn't necessarily we don't know that he didn't involve himself in that snap, and he just was one of the lucky ones who didn't go away.
I'll give it that, but maybe
because that was his argument.
I would assume that the glove protected him. That would be my assumption. This
might have
mystical glove will make it so that he also does not disappear.
Right. But his thing was that he said about his world was when his world was facing extinction or whatever, he suggested that. He goes genocide, he goes dispassionate, rich and poor alike, like at random. Like that's what he said.
As long as it's not him.
Well, he didn't say that.
He didn't say that, but that's pretty much implied by anybody who comes up with those ideas.
But that's what he said. He's like the whole universe. Like his goal was to save things. He goes, he lost his whole planet because they weren't willing to get rid of half of it. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's what he even says that to Gamora. He goes, "Do you know what your world is like now?" He's like, "The kids on your world have never known anything but full bellies and blah, 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 blah." Like, but
as long as he's willing to sacrifice himself for the same cause, I would say that he is not on the proper side of a just idea.
He's biased. He's a hypocrite. He doesn't want to be that.
He wants to live in this world.
But here's the thing. Look at what he sacrificed, right? That part of the end of the movie where it goes, "Did you do it?" And he goes, "Yes." "What did it cost you?" "Everything."
Yeah.
Right? Because he lost Gamora.
Then he cracks open a beer.
He lost all four. He lost all
fields.
4 of his children.
Yeah.
Right?
2 of them are stepchildren.
2 of them?
Or were they all stepchildren?
I don't think. Well, none of them looked like him, so I'm pretty sure they were all like Gamora, stolen from other planets and stuff like that. But the idea is they were all important to him. There was 4. There was Ebony Maw, Proxima Midnight.
Those are all his children? I thought they were just like his henchmen.
The children of Thanos.
I thought that was just a title. I didn't realize they were actually his children. I thought the only 2 were Gamora and Nebula.
I would imagine children of Thanos in the same way that Gamora was a child of Thanos, taken and raised and trained. So was Nebula. Right. But just these were the children. They were called, I believe it was called, Corvus Glaive is the one with the knife. Ebony Maw was the one, the
With the
magician one.
yeah, he had the
Then
telepathic
there was
powers.
Proxima Midnight was the woman. And then the Cull Obsidian was the big one who got his arm cut off with the Doctor Strange portal. Well, Cull Obsidian, from my understanding, was the name of all four of them. And that guy had a different name. So they actually called him the name that all four of them were. That was the Cull Obsidian.
Yeah.
And it was like Thanos's, like, you know, generals or whatever.
Yeah.
So he lost all four of them in the movie. They're all gone, you know? So he took, I mean, that's what he said, you know, when he saw Doctor Strange, he goes, I take it the Maw is dead. He goes, yes. He goes, this day extracts a hefty toll or whatever. You know what I mean? Like he recognizes the cost of their loss. He was not just like, who cares? Like it affected him, but it was all part of this doing it. So I think he too was willing to sacrifice, you know what I mean? Like even himself, when he's, you know, talking to Gamora at the end, what did it cost? Everything. So he too was willing to sacrifice to have that goal.
He could have still fallen on the sword after the deed was done.
Sure. Of course. Yeah. And you're right. But all I'm saying is, what DC character in any of these movies has that been their, they don't have a plight like that. It's not something so much so that you could actually have a discussion. Steppenwolf wanted to take over the world.
How did we get back to this?
You asked, I was going back to your question about what, Thanos.
It had nothing to do with DC.
I know. I'm just telling you.
You just hate them
when you're
so
like,
much.
When you're like, you're such a fanboy hatred. I'm not hating it because I'm a fanboy of Marvel.
And I wasn't saying that. I wasn't
it.
saying that Thanos was a bullshit character. I was legitimately curious.
And it's a great question, but that's my.
Better be a great
that's
question.
my point. Is that with the Marvel villains, you can actually have a discussion about is it right, is it wrong? There's depth to them versus mosquitoes flying around a guy who just wants to blow up the world. There's nothing to that character. It's not relatable.
When you talk about the mosquitoes flying around, I always go back to the original
Justice League
Avengers movie.
Oh, you're talking about the
same.
They weren't mosquitoes; they were armies. You're talking about the
same thing.
The Chitauri.
Yeah, same concept. Faceless creatures flying around causing.
No,
mayhem.
you can have army. Yeah, but that wasn't the all that was the whole movie. The whole fucking movie is them fighting the mosquito monsters.
Well, they were getting in the way. They were the what do they call it? The offensive line, protecting their quarterback.
I think, but when all the scenes of them flying around outside. By the way, those scenes in the Avengers.
I'm getting the feeling,
badass.
everyone, that Josh really hates DC.
Do it definitely. You're getting.
He's
the
like
idea?
frothing at the mouth. Like, fuck. I got a bunch of DC comics. You want to set them on fire?
Can I please? Oh, that would make me so happy. So let's move the podcast forward. Considering we're an hour and 10 minutes in, there was one more thing that I'll tell the audience that I experienced today that I haven't gotten around to.
Oh shit!
So I really enjoyed doing the podcast with you last time that you were on, buddy. And I figured after the last couple episodes being a little bland, me being sick and everything, I thought it might add a little character to have you back on. Hopefully,
well, I am pretty fucking awesome.
Hopefully, everything we're talking about is mildly interesting to someone, even just to hear us argue with each other back and forth. Maybe just to inspire them to do a little Netflix watching or Crave watching or
make
or
strong opinions about a TV show before it even comes out.
I'm not strong opinionated. I'm just saying, I think here's the thing too, is I'm starting to, you know what I really like?
You're starting to distrust.
Marvel's 20 something movies deep. And I love the idea that it feels like a series on the big screen.
Yeah.
That isn't getting shitty. It's not like Friday the 13th, 15.
I think you were turned off
garbage.
by the Marvel TV shows.
I didn't like it. Yeah. But here's the thing too, is that I almost find that some episodes of TV shows, like here's the thing, I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched like Green Arrow or any of the DC ones. Yeah, well, some people
with the exception
love Arrow
of Titans was pretty darn good, and I hear Doom Patrol is doing very good as well.
Fine,
yeah.
But all I'm saying is like I've seen shows like that. I also watched like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it was like I watched a few because I was loving everything Marvel. I also watched the Netflix Marvel ones, Daredevil, Jessica Jones. So the first Daredevil season, amazing. Jessica Jones. Unfucking believably good. Yeah. Like the first season. Amazing. Luke Cage came out. The first half was okay. Then the second half turned really stupid.
I agree.
The bad guy turns into a mosquito machine flying around.
I wouldn't say stupid, but it didn't hold up to the first half. But it was definitely watchable.
It just went downhill into like some goofy, campy kind of thing instead of being like.
But it remained canon. It remained true to the storyline.
Sure.
Which is what they have to do. Otherwise, they'll get called out. I guess,
but you could do a little bit better. I mean, you could say canon.
They might have been able to.
You could take a character, like look at Shocker in Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah. That's not really Shocker. That's it. Like he's blasting. He's not. This was more like like powerful hits.
Yeah, they were trying to make it more
Believable.
Believable, yeah.
Right. So you can do that. It's not canon, but
Yeah.
it still works.
Yeah.
I just found the guy buzzing around in a weird jetpack suit at the end,
Yeah.
having like a fight in the middle. That really lost it for me. That character lost all fear.
Yeah.
When he became a stupid, like he was so cartoonish. How do you even worry? Like here, okay. So here's the thing. Part of what makes these stories good to me is the tension of the actual fear, like the risk and the, you know what I mean? It's like, holy shit, if this guy gets this last stone, he's going to wipe out half of the, there's big stakes here.
But I'm pretty sure everybody watching the movie knew he was going to get that last stone.
Maybe. But all I'm saying is that like you get the idea that if this happens, this is a big fucking deal.
Not to cut you short, but what were you getting at? Because we just kind of went
still
right
do
back
that.
into
No,
it. It's like a
I'm-
sinkhole. We just keep
I was
falling
giving an
back into.
example of
Okay.
Thanos, just like that's real stakes.
Yeah.
So I'm saying I found the Luke Cage. It was so silly at the end. They couldn't do it. Like, you know that in Jessica Jones, what's his face?
Kilgrave.
Kilgrave. Thing. It was like Killmonger. It's not Killmonger. Kilgrave was Purple Man in the comics.
Yep.
He has another name. So Purple Man, he was purple.
Well, I
That's
think Purple Man was
canon, but
Purple
they
Man was
didn't-
the name, but I think his actual name was Kilgrave. They
right.
just-
But I'm just saying, but he was purple too.
yes, he
And
was.
so I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
they changed that to make it not so hokey and camp.
Yeah.
And then literally the next season they do, oh, it's canon. We got to put him in this jetpack and make him goof. I found it stupid. Iron Fist, the dumbest shit.
Yeah, we're not even talking about that.
Yeah. So I was like, ugh. And then they did Defenders also.
But I
very
wouldn't
stupid.
blame Iron Fist. I would blame the show. I think the Iron Fist character is not as
What I thought was
mental as
kind
that.
of dumb was that Daredevil was the only one in costume. You know what I mean? Like all of them didn't have costumes. And so to put Daredevil as the only one running around in the Defenders in his costume, I found kind of dumb because Iron Fist has a costume, which he never dons. In
Yeah,
the show.
he's supposed to have a
It's
cowl
a
as
white,
well.
yeah, like a yellow cowl and like
Yeah.
a green jumpsuit
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
or like a suit. So he never got to that point. So I figured, well, why not leave Daredevil
Maybe-
in the black bandana he was wearing in the first season?
Because it was the first one. It was the first of that whole series of shows, and people really wanted to see the outfit. I think.
Maybe, but
I
I
think that's
think
what it was. People were super excited to see it when it finally came out at the end of the first season. Spoiler alert.
right. But it looked kind of stupid when he was finally in that. I was like, oh, he kind of looks goofy.
Oh, I didn't think that.
But I still enjoyed it. The second season of Daredevil was good too. I found Elektra's fine. Punisher, I started to watch, didn't like it.
Oh, really? Because a lot of people loved Punisher.
I got halfway through it, and you know what? Honestly, halfway through the season of the Punisher, I'm like, this could be any show.
Okay,
about
I
a
only
guy. It
saw the
didn't
first
feel-
episode.
It didn't feel like Punisher. It felt like I'm watching a show about a guy who's trying to find intel, and like it could have been any cop show. It could have been.
Yeah.
There was nothing that was distinctly Punisher to me. It was a guy trying to get retribution. Like it wasn't. It
Is
didn't
that not
feel-
Punisher?
Yes, but then if I just need if all he has to be is Punisher enough to like watch a show about a guy going around with a gun, then that's not enough. Like, okay, it's Spider-Man, but all he ever does is take pictures and talk to his aunt. No, but I want to see him swing and shoot webs. Like,
Well,
I
what
want
else?
Spider-Man.
What else did
aspect
Punisher
of it.
do? Is what I'm
I'm
wondering.
saying
I
just
have no
more,
idea.
more Frank Castle, more like he's a little superhero-y in his. Okay, let's put it this way: John Wick. Punisher should be John Wick.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It should be like
really
against
understand what
all
you're-
odds.
To really understand what you're saying, I should probably watch all of the Punisher.
Yeah, I'm just saying that when you're thinking Punisher, you're thinking a guy who brings a fucking arsenal of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it should be the John Wick kind of.
Did it get a second season?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. Jessica Jones did. I started watching it, but I mean the thing was at that point I was turned off by the end of Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Defenders, and Punisher. I'm just like I think I'm out now.
I think it might have been a good idea because I don't think it was. It was definitely not as good. It couldn't be as good as the first season.
It was also supposed to come out before Defenders, and timelines pushed it back to afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the storyline, they had to shoehorn Defender stuff into it when it wasn't originally going to be there. So I watched a couple episodes. I'm like, it just doesn't have that same feel.
Yeah.
So, and I also don't know if, again, throughout this process, more people switching over to the streaming services and everything like that. It's like, do we have to make it more mainstream? Do we have to,
I accept the fact that you believe that. I'm going to go on the
not
other
saying
side
I believe
and
it, it's
say
just it's a possibility.
I'm going to say I don't think it's that. I give. I don't know. I just think like this whole golden because everyone had access to also AMC. It wasn't that hard for them to get those, but those shows stayed pretty high caliber.
They're also in premium packages for cable.
Yes,
by
but
the way.
no, I know that. I know that, but still, like any Joe Blow can be like, "Oh, I heard this show's good. Let's go watch it." They didn't change it for that guy. I don't know. I'm gonna be more optimistic.
Yeah, dude, do it. My fear is that, but I guess the biggest point that I was getting at was that when it's a TV series, so like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The only character in that show at all that I knew was Agent Coulson, who, spoiler alert, 6 years later, if you haven't seen him by now, it's your fault, gets killed in the first Avengers movie by Loki. Okay. And all of a sudden he's back for the show. He's the only character I know anything about. Okay. And all of the sudden I've got these new characters and new agents, new field reps. Don't know any of them.
Was it all? Did it have that structure of conflict resolution every episode?
Every episode.
Yeah, so that's network challenge. I brought that up in my email.
And that's what I'm saying is
drives me
I
nuts.
don't like that because I'm kind of like, but at the same time, like they might pretend like there's a, they might drop a sentence about something that's going to build.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't give
try
a
to
fuck.
tie it
Why am I
together.
watching all these episodes with criminals that aren't from the comics? These are all made up just for the show.
Were they?
As far as I know,
Okay.
I can go pretty deep in terms
have
of
no
my
idea.
names of things. I might not know all their origins, but I know their stuff.
Yeah.
I know that in the third season they introduced Ghost Rider into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Really?
Yep.
He probably looked terrible.
Yeah, kind of looks a little like fake. No, it doesn't look awful. Everyone said his character was great in the show, but he's definitely, it's like, they're not going to make another movie with him because the movies were awful. So it's like, well, at least we can put him back into the mix with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I watched probably 4 or 5 episodes, conflict resolution, didn't really care about any of the characters. The characters, bad, like the humor in Marvel movies, which I actually find is quite good. It was like they were trying to make it really funny in the show, and it had that network TV funny feel. So that's why I say, like, I don't want to watch a show season after season, episode after episode for a slight growth.
Yeah.
If Loki's show is going to be a serial, I hope that it's not the same as, because like I said, The Punisher, like I could watch 4 episodes straight and I'm like, nothing's really moving forward story wise.
And the problem with the Loki thing for me is I actually really don't give a shit about Loki.
Right.
When I heard he was getting his own series, I'm like, oh.
Well, he was the very
Awesome.
first Avengers enemy in the comics, so
Yeah.
they were true to.
Just his character is boring to me.
Oh yeah, like I do like Tom Hiddleston's like Loki. And it's kind of cool.
And
I
he
liked
has
his arc. I honestly liked his arc.
Yeah.
But so anyways, guys, I coming here to have the blah blah blah. Sorry, I'm getting a few messages right here. Crystal's messaging right now. I messaged her. I didn't get a chance to send her a picture. I was coming here to record with you, buddy. I love chatting with you. I love arguing with you about stuff that nobody cares about, but you and me. As I was driving here, gang, in the highway, just enjoying sunroof open, enjoying, the nice sunny skies, right? My Apple CarPlay is working. They did a great job of repairing it at the dealership. And then I just hear the loudest snap sound in the world, which was clearly a stone hitting the vehicle. And I look around and I find this nice fucking star crack right in the middle of my fucking windshield. And relatively large. It's about an inch across.
I'd say half an inch, but still.
Fuck you and your half
It's
an inch.
not an inch, but it is enough that you are justifiably upset.
Yeah, it's right in the middle of the fucking windshield. And because my vehicle has like lane watch and radar sensors and everything like that, those are all built into the windshield up at the top. And that all makes the repair process more
are they really?
expensive. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Did I tell you the price?
No.
I was on the phone with Chris when it happened. So Chris literally heard me go, wow. Just so like, I listen, here's the thing too. I didn't actually lose my shit as much as I thought I was going to. I'm actually surprised because like, I'm just like, great. But here's the thing, you know what? I didn't lose my shit that much because I thought like the last time I remember hearing it, like windshields are like $300-400 to replace. So I was like, well, my deductible's $300 if I go through insurance. So I may as well spend the extra 100 and not risk increasing my premiums or whatever. I call the dealership and they're like, well, to reset the, sensors and everything to make sure that we, calibrate. And I don't think it's calibrate. It wasn't set up. But anyways, their word for it to reset them is like $250. And they're like, it's going to take about 2 hours. So the labor is about another 220 something bucks. So I go, great. So I'm at like $500 before I start. They're like, yeah, we'll transfer you to the parts department to get the cost of the windshield. I'm like, oh, great. We haven't even fixed the windshield yet. We're just talking about all the voodoo dance around it that they do. And then I get the price of the guys. Okay. So you're looking at a grand total of about $1,100. This is the parts guy. And they go, okay, so that's like the install. And he goes, no, that's just the windshield for it's like gaskets and
I'm a little confused. So there's a labor price of $200 about, and then what's the other 200 for?
To basically once the new windshield gets installed, they got to angle the cameras, they got to angle the radars.
Which is labor. They're not adding any new material besides the windshield. So
No,
why
but I
are they?
guess it's just a
they're
service
basically
fee.
charging you twice for labor.
Probably. Yeah,
I'm
seemingly.
going to charge you for me being there, and then I'm going to charge you again for me actually doing something.
Seemingly. That's how dealerships work.
How does that fist feel up your ass?
So, yeah. So overall, dude, the entire thing is $1,600.
Lovely.
So I go, great. So insurance it is.
And what if I just write the car off? What do we get?
You don't get to write it off for a little starfish crack in the front, but yeah, it's right under, like when I'm looking at the rear view, right underneath. It's right there. So it's in my eyes all the time. I'm like, I just couldn't possibly do it. So, luckily I spoke with my insurance company and, I was on my way here. I actually detoured Chris's house. Quite a small amount of time, actually.
I was actually surprised.
Short
You're like, I'm
period
here.
of
I thought
time.
you were texting me to be like, all right, I'm at the dealership. I'll be, another half hour.
No, I just drove there. I said, have a look. And he goes, well, we might be able to fill it with gel. He goes, but it's right in the middle of your windshield. Like, would that bother you? I go, oh yeah. And it's such a hard crack.
Do you know me?
It's such a hard crack. Like, part of it's chipped out. You can see there's like a little chip
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the crack.
Yeah.
So like whatever it was got me good.
And
guys.
also the gel doesn't necessarily always work.
Right. Exactly.
And you wouldn't find out until the winter.
Right. So, and he's like, but the idea is it's still a big piece of damaged glass in the middle.
Yeah.
And so to fill it would cost $100 and change, or I'll just, and my insurance company told me that actually, because it's comprehensive, it won't affect my rights. They said, if you keep doing comprehensive claims, what's funny? I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but when I first got my Honda Fit, in the first year, I had 2 comprehensive claims on it. One of them was a squirrel chewing through my engine, leaving peanuts in my engine.
What a son of a bitch.
$2,700 worth of damage chewing through the harness and all the wires and everything like that to stash peanuts. I have pictures. Why don't I put them up on the Instagram and whatnot? I also still have to put your space coffee picture that you sent me. I'm really behind on the socials, guys. I apologize. But yeah, so that first year, and then a few months later, I was driving home from Montreal and a tire flew off an 18-wheeler, bounced all over the road. So like it's erratic bouncing, made it impossible for me to determine how to avoid it. Hit the front bumper, knocked the bumper loose, the fog light out, all that
You got
stuff.
fucking lucky. Because a couple years ago in Ottawa, that happened on the highway and it killed a guy. It went right through the windshield and killed him.
Well,
My wife missed that accident by like 45
well, here's
minutes.
the thing. It was lucky enough that I saw several bounces that the hard part, I don't tailgate.
No. This
But I'm
happened.
saying that the bounces happened. It bounced enough times to A, lose a lot of its momentum, and B, enough
sorry.
for me to see that
That's
it was
right.
bouncing all over the place.
one
But I
I'm
couldn't
talking about-
choose where to fucking
the one I'm
dodge
talking
it.
about, it was westbound traffic. The tractor trailer lost the wheel and it bounced into eastbound traffic.
Right, came right over the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
This I
Whereas
was
you're
still
talking,
following-
you're both going the same direction.
Yeah, the momentums are the
So
same.
yeah, it started slowing down and coming towards you backwards,
Yeah.
not coming towards you full
right,
force.
but it
forward.
wasn't like you'd think, like it's bouncing down the road,
Yeah.
coming straight. This is like came off, it's wobbling.
It's
so
like a
every time it
football.
bounces,
It's like a football, yeah.
exactly. So I couldn't even determine. The best thing I was able to do was to try to get it to one side of me, and then one of the bounces came up, and I couldn't avoid it. Hit the front vehicle, hit the cars behind me too.
You're lucky that you didn't take it off the road. Because if you had like swerved to avoid it and ditched the
Yeah,
car,
well, that's the thing is I'm
then
not
you-
going to do that. That's
yeah.
part of not knowing where it's going to go. You're not going to just swerve
and then
around
prove
it.
that the tire was coming at you,
Right.
And that you weren't just a terrible driver.
Right. Well, the thing is, it hit me and hit the people behind me, and we both pulled over to the side of the road. Right, like the truck pulled over to the side of the road. So myself and the car behind me pulled it out. I get out of the car, go look at where it hit. Right, and it's still, still a couple cars going by, traffic, whatever. So I look over, I look at you guys. Are you guys okay? You get hit too? Like, yeah, I just hit the front here. It doesn't look like there's turn back and look, and the truck's driving off, like not slowly pulling away, but the truck has already gotten back on the road and
Nobody
started to
got his
fuck
number?
off. No, because he pulled over. So we were like, okay, we're gonna walk up to the thing. I just looked, looked back at them. Are you guys okay? And they're like, yeah, it hit us too. Cool. Turn around. The truck's already like on the road on its way down. So the guy saw that he hit people and fucked off.
You should have got on the old telephony.
Yeah, but he's already gone. Do you know how slow my car is?
He's on a highway and he's a big 18-wheeler. The cops
Hey
can
guys,
catch up him pretty
on
easy.
18-wheeler, can you pull over an 18-wheeler?
What color is it? Whereabouts is it?
Silver on the back.
They're not that fast. They can't hide very quick.
No, but you know how many of them are on? This is in between
That's
Ottawa and
true. There is a
Montreal.
lot
Do you know
there.
how many
Yeah.
18-wheelers there
Between
are?
and Toronto and Montreal. I was thinking Toronto and Ottawa.
No,
Okay,
Ottawa, Montreal.
You're fucked. You'll never find them.
Yeah. No, well, that's exactly it. Right. Yeah. So it was just like, that sucks. But another comprehensive claim. So after that second claim, my insurance company contacted me and said, your rates aren't going up, but you're no longer eligible for the $300 deductible. It's going up to $500. Right. Mm-hmm. So they're just covering the difference. And then it's funny because a few months later, I called about something else and a friend of mine was working there. She goes, actually, we just switched companies. Let me just check your rates again. Oh, cool. No, actually, I can just put you right back to the $300. I'm like, sweet. So anyways, the good news is, my insurance company has claimed to have contacted the dealership. My dealership, those guys are great. They're going to take care of me. But for now, I've got a star crack in my windshield, and
Fuck your life.
it's just fucking, now one thing to the next. I'm having fun, buddy. We're an hour and a half. Haven't gotten to the sponsors yet. I did want to add this. You and I put a little note here about you and me to talk about music genres, but we've bitched about so many things. I think we might have to save it for a future episode. However, I did want to say, you guys know that a while back, and it is a very long time ago, I said this to Chris, and for some reason he didn't feel the need to go back more than like 3 months, but there is a book, a series of children's books I talked about a very long time ago called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. If you've forgotten about that, on the One Man Podcast Instagram, if you go back a fair distance,
Go back
a long
further
time,
than you ever think you should.
the podcast has been around for a maximum of 2 years, not even. So if you guys can't handle that, it's not a lot of posts, 1 or 2 posts a week. So I'm just saying, there's the cover of the book and all the horrific drawings from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. As a matter of fact, I'm actually going to make Chris watch the trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, you're going to watch the trailer because, do you mind bringing it up on that? Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark trailer?
I don't think my iPad can do that.
If you have the Apple, do you have the trailers app?
I have IMDb.
Yeah, I know, but the IMDb, a lot of them right now are showing the TV spots, not the actual trailer.
We'll see. Fine then. I have YouTube. I'm not downloading something new for you.
The trailer, it's an Apple app. It should already be on there.
No, I delete that shit.
Is really? I thought there's some Apple things you just can't delete.
A lot of them you can now. I'm not sure if it's called delete. A lot of them you can
hide
now.
them.
Yeah, but you're removing. You're freeing up space by doing it.
Right. So tell me if this is the picture that you see when the movies thing comes up.
Yeah, it's that dude right there.
Yeah.
Minute 50. Does that make sense? Am I playing it loud enough for everyone to hear?
Give it. Well, yeah. Why not? Just play it because we're going to listen to your reaction, or whatever. Did you read these books as a kid?
Absolutely not.
Really? Okay.
I had decent.
No, you can leave it
parents.
down. You can leave it down.
Okay.
We'll hear it in the
Also,
background.
this fucking ad.
So there's the thing. Yeah. If you didn't see it, then it might be different. But does it go in louder?
Probably.
Well, that sounds good in the headphones too.
I have scary stories of my own.
Turn it off.
Really?
No.
Sarah Bellows, tell me a story.
I'm waiting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of dead air here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said it was Guillermo del Toro, eh?
Yeah. From Shape of Water and Pan's Labyrinth.
I wonder if what's his face is going
Mama.
to be in it.
The stories write themselves.
I'll let you know if he is. I can fucking tell just by the way he holds his hands. Yeah, that's him right there.
You don't read the book. The book reads you.
You'll see something without a toe. This picture of the kid hyphen toe. I think this is in it too.
I'm afraid I'm gonna die, Dad.
Relax. Relax.
So this isn't, even though the book you claim is for kids, this definitely is not.
No. But the thing was like,
Jesus. Scary stories to tell in the dark. It seems like it's taking the same approach as the Goosebumps movie.
well, except this is going to be fucking horrifying.
No. Let me explain my point. Where the Goosebumps movie did not pick a Goosebumps book and make a movie about it. They picked Goosebumps as the author and Goosebumps as
So they put all the characters in,
yes.
or at
So
least
this isn't
them.
taking stories from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. They're taking the book and making a movie about the book kind of coming to life.
Well, I think that they're going to tell different stories in that. Like, I think it's going to be, this is what I think from what
I
I've
thought I
seen.
just heard them talking about the book. Like in the movie, they were talking about,
Maybe.
like, there's this book about scary stories. Unless one of the scary stories to tell
I think
in the
she
dark
said,
is-
I have scary stories of my own.
Okay.
So my thoughts are at some point, I think, okay, did you ever see that movie Tales from the Dark Side? It was 3 stories and there's a woman with a little kid. It was actually Matthew Lawrence. And he's locked up in a cage
What
and
a
he's
hunk.
like reading her stories as she's trying to cook, like prepare dinner for him cooking. So it's kind of like, it looks like a story about a woman who's going to eat a kid, but really it's a vessel for him telling her these 3 different sort of Tales from the Crypt-y style stories.
Okay.
Did you ever watch Tales from the Crypt?
the cartoon.
Fuck, Chris.
Sorry,
you were
homie.
sheltered. Anyways,
I was allowed to watch the news
I
and
think-
MASH.
I think that the saving grace or whatever, I don't know. I like the shows where it was like, here's a story about blah, 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 blah. So my thoughts are that they've found a way for the movie to start telling these stories, from the books. The book stories, I would say at Halloween, get this for your kids. The stories are not so horrifying that you couldn't read them to your kids. The stories aren't horrifying. The idea was like there's, I think it was in that trailer, but it's definitely in one of them where a girl's got a big wart in her face.
Yeah.
She goes to touch, it's a little spider leg that moves.
Yeah.
So like a spider's laid eggs in her face or whatever. And as a matter of fact, I believe in the book, it was actually in her beehive haircut. It wasn't actually in her face. It was in her hair.
On Halloween, on what would that YTV, to throw out a reference that maybe half your audiences know about, they would always show these cartoons. They were almost like not like a full cartoon. It'd be like almost, instead of 24 frames per second, there'd be maybe like 5. You know what I mean? It'd be really choppy looking. But they told that story about the beehive that got cut open and it was full of bees.
Right. Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So, but
I think the host of it was like a puppet cockroach. And then they go to the cartoon.
Yeah. Filth was his name, I think.
Okay.
But it was like a weird little thing. And there was all sorts of other puppets back on YTV back then. For what it's worth, like these stories are scary. Who's got my big toe? Like it's not that scary, but the idea was they did, the book has those images that I showed you that are on the One Man Podcast, guys. You can see them. So as a kid reading the story, it's not that scary, but looking at these horrifying, like that artwork is not kids book artwork.
Yeah,
That's horrifying.
I like sleeping right through the night. And if my kids see that shit, that I won't be sleeping through the night.
But that's what I'm saying. Don't get them that. You can get the audio books, which have scary music, like creepy, ominous music, but you don't see those images. And those images are what really fucked you up. There's ones about a scarecrow ripping off someone's skin and hanging it to dry outside their house. Like some of them were a little far. Yeah. But that's it. Like that's the scary part.
That's what's funny too about like the way people treat TV and video games nowadays. Oh, they're so violent. Kids are getting so desensitized. Look at the shit that used to be considered children's literature.
Yeah, I got to find, you know what? I honestly have to buy a copy of these books. And maybe what I'll do is on Halloween, like every episode, I'll read one of the stories or something like that. You can find like I said, the audiobooks are creepy too from Alvin Schwartz. You know what, Chris?
What?
You know what? I might try to do this just to see if they have it available on YouTube. Let me see. Alvin Schwartz.
Alvin Schwarzenegger.
Well, I think it was coming up until I fucked it up. Alvin Schwartz Scary Stories. Okay, so you can actually get all of these on the thing. Audiobook complete trilogy. So I'm going to play a couple seconds of this just so you can hear how like...
The big toe.
There you go, the big toe.
A boy was digging at the edge of the garden when he saw a big toe. He tried to pick it up, but it was stuck to something. So he gave it a good hard jerk and it came off in his hand. Then he heard something groan and scamper away. The boy took the toe into the
max
kitchen
volume?
and showed it to his mother.
It's working. I can hear it pretty good.
It looks nice and plump, she said. I'll put it in the soup and we'll have it for supper.
Gross.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
His father carved the toe into 3 pieces and they each had a piece. Then they did the dishes, and when it got dark, they went to bed. The boy fell asleep almost at once.
Confess.
You've got it!
Yeah.
Open, and again he heard the voice. Where is my toe? It groaned. Then,
you know what I mean? Like it's not.
Steps moved through the kitchen. Into the dining room, into the living room.
So that music's like a little creepy or whatever. All I'm driving at is that the books had horrifying, like creepy, so the audiobooks had horrifying, creepy music. The books had terrifying images. But so I remember as a kid, I'm like, these were the fucking scariest things either. So that Who's Got My Big Toe? That's the image of the little boy on Instagram with the hoe. The hoe in the toe, you know what I'm saying?
There it is.
So, and it's like, how does that look like? Like, does that even the picture of the child looks horrifying? It's just supposed to be a kid. But that's what I'm saying. Like the art, dude, hats off to the artist. That's creepy ass, like charcoal-y drawing shit. Mm-hmm. But in the poster for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, clearly they're using the exact same, looking creatures
Yes.
from the book. Like they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't go, oh, we should tell a story and make our own versions of these skinks. They were like, no, they nailed it in the book. Let's just take those and make that a thing.
Guillermo knew what he wanted.
Guillermo.
Guillermo.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the show here because listen, I appreciate you guys being here. It's gonna be a long ass episode.
Yeah.
Thank you
Your
so
fault.
much. No, hey, you know what? I had fun, and people still listen, so we're still doing this. This week, guys, we are reading from a bathroom reading. You know why? Because Chris and I grabbed Little Caesars for lunch. We grabbed some Little Caesars. Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy Little Caesars? It's fast food, man. Hot and ready. Chris is also not aware of Little Caesars, what they're rocking nowadays with their, just what is it? Just hot and ready. You just go in there. It's already ready to go. It's cheap.
Yep.
Show up. Hey, can I have that? You betcha. It's hot and ready.
It's called Food Under a Heat Lamp.
So this week, guys, my partners at portablepress.com, Uncle John's Bathroom Readers, we are going to be reading an article called Fast Food Facts. This is actually from Uncle John's second bathroom reader. So just for what it's worth, these fast food facts are about 30 years old. Because this was like written in the 80s. So, we might hear some things that you go, you know what? I don't think this is actually a fact that's current. These are based on, when it was a few years ago. So, I'll kick us off here, guys. There are more than 55,000 fast food restaurants in the U.S. I would imagine that number is significant. Yeah.
There once was a time when there was 55,000 fast food.
Those are fascinating factoids about fast food.
So my turn. When Colonel Sanders started selling chicken in the late 50s, he was 65 years old. His only goal was to make $1,000 a month.
And luckily now there's fat families in Houston that spend that a month on.
Now, what would that translate to now?
$1,000 a month?
$1,000?
Inflation? Fuck, I don't know.
That's probably enough.
30 years.
Yeah, but so from the 50s, making $1,000 a month in the 50s, I don't know.
Oh God, it's 60 years later.
Yeah.
Like 1,000, what was it? Like, grandparents always like, it was like a nickel for a loaf of bread. So he wanted to be able to buy 200,000 loaves of bread.
Well, I remember watching Marvelous Miss Maisel. They were talking about buying a house, and this is set in the late 50s. And they're talking about buying a house, and the guy was given $12,000. He's like, $12,000? That's like, you could buy a house for that much.
You still can in Detroit.
Yes. Yes.
2/3 of the eateries in the U.S. serve fast food. And 2/3 of the people who go out to eat get their meals at fast food restaurants. That's got to be, I'd say it's a higher percentage than that, right? If you're going out to get food, now odds are, what do you think? 80% is fast food, and then 20% might be sitting in
Well,
restaurants?
because if you're going out to get food, it's usually not a planned thing nowadays.
Right.
It's like, I don't feel like cooking. Anyway, fast food fries are usually sprayed with sugar, which gives them their brown coloring when cooked. Interesting.
It also makes them more addictive. Because salt and sugar, well, salt's not as addictive as sugar is, but sugar is definitely addictive. I've heard, so it's like we said before, I'm not sure how much of this is true, but I've heard that salt mix, like, when they take the salt and they put it on the McDonald's fries, I've heard that there's a percentage of that's sugar in there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you taste the salt more, but the sugar just to make it more
because you're not supposed to do MSG anymore, so they got to find something that's addictive.
That's right. Did you know MSG is not bad for you, according to some YouTube videos I watched?
Oh.
Yeah, that'd be interesting for another time.
If YouTube said it.
Yeah. Domino's offers 10 different toppings for its pizza. That's way different now. That means you can get 3.9 million different combinations of pizza there.
PepsiCo, Pepsi's parent company, is one of the world's largest fast food restaurants. Among its holdings, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut all serve Pepsi, of course. PepsiCo also owns Frito-Lay's.
Ooh. You know that every day approximately 46 million Americans eat at fast food restaurants? Again, that number is off. But that's interesting to know that in the 80s, it was 46 million Americans. Really, do you know how many Americans there are now? Since each of them are only having 2 kids, only replacing themselves?
300 and some?
Wow. That means that all Americans were having 5 kids. Because 2 kids is super sustainable.
You're not taking into account. Yeah. Colonel Sanders wasn't particularly fond of Kentucky Fried Chicken after he sold it. He called the extra crispy chicken a damn fried dough ball stuck on some chicken. And he said the KFC gravy was pure wallpaper paste. I actually knew he wasn't.
It still is now, actually.
I actually knew he wasn't happy with where they went after he sold it.
They changed it. It's not like he sold it and he just started shitting on it because it was sold.
They probably made it so that you can mass market it for higher profits.
Right. Oh, definitely. Because if you get fried chicken in the South, it's not the slightest bit greasy or anything like that. It's a nice fried on, outside, and the chicken is plump and moist, but it's not like here where you pick it up and you can squeeze grease out of it, Wendy's was named after the daughter of the company's founder, Dave Thomas. I think we all know that now. Maybe in the 80s, people didn't know.
Thomas claims Thomas claims his square burgers are designed to grill efficiently. Others say it's a marketing play. The four corners hang out over the edge of the bun, making the burger look bigger. I heard he does it because it's a metaphor for when he's not cutting corners.
Ah, interesting. Who told you that?
I don't remember. Maybe it was that hobo.
Regional fast food numbers as of the 80s. Number 1, the Midwest, 30.5% of the population eats fast food at least once a week. Number 2, the South, 30.4. Oh, that's not much of a difference. 30.5 versus 30.4%. The West Coast, 23%. And number 4, the East Coast at 16.5%.
I'm going to say that the West Coast would probably now be the least.
Right. California, the health conscious and all that. Yeah, probably. And finally, sir.
Oh, there is another one. There are 525 McDonald's eateries in Japan.
Eateries. That's a cute name for it. Yeah, again, probably more now. And the running feed of the article, guys, there is a city called Rome on every continent of the world. And that, my friends, is fast food facts from my partners at portablepress.com. Uncle John's Bathroom Raiders. And speaking of bathrooms, I'm going to hit a quick pause here because my butt needs to go and create its own anti-eatery at the moment. Chris, I can tell by your face, you can't wait to hear more when I come back.
I have that toilet bowl spray.
Yeah.
It's the poopery.
We'll be right back after these messages. And we're back. Chris, how was yours? Mine was great. It
Oh, fantastic.
was good, eh? Right now, what's my next sponsor? My partners at Absolute Comedy, right? I can't think of anything huge to say that's going on with them right now,
I got nothing going on there.
except that I will be back there at sometime soon. At sometime soon?
That's sometime soon.
I'll be back there sometime soon. So yeah, check out absolutecomedy.ca, clubs in Ottawa, Toronto, and Kingston, Ontario. Absolute Comedy is the best live stand-up comedy from across North America with locations in Kingston, Toronto, and Ottawa, Ontario. These comedians have been featured on Just for Laughs, Netflix, Comedy Central, CBC's The Debaters, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Conan, The Comedy Network, and much, much more. Go to absolutecomedy.ca to see this week's lineup. Planning a night out is easy with dinner and show packages available at all locations. Live comedy is a great choice if you're organizing a celebration, fundraiser, company outing, or corporate event. Want the show brought to you? They'll send comedians to your venue with performances tailored to your event, creating a night of laughs your guests will love and won't soon forget. So for showtimes, ticket prices, gift certificates, special shows, and more, head to absolutecomedy.ca. Again, that's absolutecomedy.ca for the best live stand-up comedy from across North America. And we're back. Chris, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
Don't you love those breaks where we have to sit here and just stare at each other quietly while the thing plays? Did I forget any of my sponsors, Chris? Did I forget anybody?
I don't know who's your sponsor anymore, so I'm not going to say
I have
anything.
multiple sponsors. You don't know what they're called?
I know what they are, but some of them you don't bring up anymore.
Oh, I'm talking about my pals at DK.
Oh,
Right? The ones who I
Those
never
ones.
forget.
Yeah.
I act like I do, but I never forget them.
You're funny.
Yeah. Listen, this week I got a book. Guys, I'm still working on those two big ones. Did I ever say what they were?
Probably.
Did I tell you personally, or did I say on the podcast?
No, you never told me personally.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, there's two really good books that do deserve the time of day, that do deserve a proper review. I'm going to do them same episode because they just kind of go together.
Okay.
They're late. I got them for International Women's Month. That month has passed. It's a little bit of
Isn't every
a
month,
hint.
or shouldn't every month be International Women's Month?
No, every month should be International Everybody's Month.
Okay.
But that makes people feel like you don't care. If you're like, what? We should be inclusive. And everyone's like, go fuck yourself. Solo us out. Isn't International Women's Month like the same month as like Black History Month as well?
No.
Or International Women's Day? When's International Women's Day?
In March, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's in March.
Is it in March? Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know. I thought they were all. I thought that was all in February. I'm like, they pick the shortest month. They lump all the minorities into the one. They're like, all right, just get it all over with. Shortest, but it's like putting them all in a rocket and shooting it into space. And they're like, all right, we gave you your thing. Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know.
You afraid you're going to get in trouble?
I'm waiting for you to
My
go on.
podcast is going to get canceled, which is the
Canceled.
greatest thing about podcasts. They can't cancel me. Can't cancel me, motherfuckers. Oh, and of course I would say that when I always say something controversial when I'm talking about these people that I love. All right. Can I just repeat once and for all that the views expressed by Josh Williams in the One Man Podcast do not reflect those of DK Books, its affiliates and subsidiaries. That's not something they gave me to read, by the way. I just feel like that's necessary.
It needs to be said.
The book is called Twitch. All right. And it is not about Parkinson's or anything like that. This book is about the streaming service Twitch. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Twitch. Twitch is a very cool little, it's like a YouTube for gamers.
Yeah.
And that's not even fair to say a YouTuber. It's like a Netflix for gamers. Not even that. Okay, listen. if you're somebody who can't afford to buy a game, but you just love seeing the games, or maybe a game has got a storyline that you're like, I don't give a fuck about the gameplay, I just want to see the story. Well, Twitch allows you to log on and watch people play games. You could watch people if you're into like, the competitiveness of,
It's a live
Call of
stream,
Duty.
is it not?
It's a live stream, yeah. So you're watching
Whereas
people
YouTube
play
is
live.
not usually live.
Right, that's the issue. But the idea is if you're into games, my listener Red is very familiar with Twitch. She was on Twitch, I believe it was Twitch for a while, streaming some games that she had on her computer. You can stream on PlayStation or you can stream on Xbox. It costs you nothing to do that unless you want to make a real sweet setup or something.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to bring the production levels to new heights, then you would spend more money on it. Excuse me, but you basically can stream for free.
Now, can you not have premium Twitch accounts where people have to subscribe to you, or can you accept donations?
I think they send donations or coins or something like that, which they buy tokens with real world money. See, here's the thing. I'm sure those questions would be answered in this here book. The book is called Twitch: Creating, Growing, and Monetizing Your Live Stream. As a matter of fact, Chris, the title described what you were saying. It's a live stream. So just getting into Twitch, guys, I have done it a few times where I, for a few days I was playing a Telltale game, which is sort of a story where you make quick time event decisions. You either hit a button to avoid something or you make dialogue decisions.
They call them narrative driven games.
Okay. So basically the whole idea is that you're like watching a movie that you get to interact with. So I did that. I was playing through one of the Walking Dead games and I had people who were watching me because I would tell them, hey, look, I'll be back on tomorrow at this time. And I would get, it wasn't a lot. It's like anything else. It's like creating a new social media account. I think I had at one point, I had 10 or 15 people watching me at one point, which, believe it or not, pretty fucking big for me playing a game that was already like a year or two old by the time I played it. But and the rough thing too is like they say that you're supposed to try to develop your own personality type because it's basically people are tuning in for your take on the games and stuff. Yeah. The only issue with playing a story game, like the one time that I was doing it on the regular, was that you don't really want me talking over the story. Yeah. Right. I was trying to be respectful of people who may want to know what's going on. And so I was just kind of quiet. I would mention the odd thing when I was walking around, get people laughing.
One thing that works is putting on subtitles. So they can follow the storyline, but then you can talk over it and,
Well, there you go. That's a great tip. That's one that just never occurred to me.
It's probably in the book.
Probably in the book. Creating, Growing, and Monetizing Your Live Stream. But the thing, too, is PewDiePie. If anyone's ever heard of PewDiePie, South Park did an episode where they were sort of making fun of PewDiePie and live streaming and stuff like that. PewDiePie is known, I think he does some other things too, but he was most popularized for being a guy who would do exactly this, is play games and you would watch him live streaming games or whatever. So the book is basically, if you're looking to, a lot of people have YouTube channels and stuff. Well, some people make money by live streaming and having their fans interact with them in the moment rather than, watching later and commenting and whatever. You get to do that. So this book has all sorts of different, tips and tricks if you want to make some money. So Red, I know that when I was chatting with you about it, you had mentioned that it becomes like almost like the podcast where it's like a chore. You have to create. Yeah. You must create a time frame. You have to stay relevant.
Otherwise people will just move on.
Right. You have to make sure that when you're going to be there to play a game, that you're there. Because when people tune in to see you and you're not there, if you get on 2 hours late, they're not sitting there for 2 hours going, well, maybe she's just running late.
Now, some of them might also get sponsorship because the more viewers you have on a regular basis, the more sponsors will want to be there. But if because there was one YouTube creator who brought this point up that he hadn't created anything for quite a while. And even though his backlog of content had millions of views, he wasn't getting the sponsorship anymore because he hasn't been contributing enough. He hasn't had those millions of views consistently. So they didn't find it worth it. So you want to continue putting out content if you want to maintain those sponsorships.
Yeah. A lot of these social media and let's call them content productions, doing YouTube, doing podcasts, doing Twitch, it's got to be a dress for the job you want kind of thing. Is you can't just kind of half-ass it and hope that people are going to get on board with something that's half-assed. You got to sort of be passionate about it, hit it hard. I mean, I'd love to say that that's the way I do this podcast, but I only do it in the sense that I make sure it's here for you every week. Some weeks it really feels like work and I drag ass and I do it at the end of the day because it's the last thing I want to do. But if you're somebody who's looking for something, if you love playing video games, there was a time where even your parents, like, I remember when the only thing that you could respond to your parents with when they're like, what are you going to do? Get a job playing video games? You'd be like, well, I could be a video game tester. Like that was like the only thing you had. Well, there's actually the potential now to make quite a lot of money playing video games if you have the personality for it. And I know it's
you need to be a
something-
personality is the thing.
Yes, and this book will help you with that. It'll help you with creating, some character to you. There's a lot of. I'll read just a couple of little bullet points here. There's streamer interviews, so get practical advice from Temarag. I don't know any of these people, by the way. Temarag, W. Greats, The Hunter Wild, Vanalis, or Slaw, and more. There's expert advice, so learn the best practices to use while streaming, in addition to tips and tricks to create a successful stream. Streaming as a career, so discover what it takes to make live streaming a profitable business, which is, hey, that should be the underline for all of us, right? Get paid for what you do. Building and keeping an audience. All right. So tips and tools to help maximize viewership, promoting your channel, learn how to market your stream to the widest audience, beginner and advanced streaming advice. So sensible guidance for anyone looking to improve and grow their live stream. And of course, setting up your live stream. So recommendations and equipment to ensure a great live stream experience for you and your followers. I'm not a computer guy, and I know that some of the most successful ones are based on computers. They have switchboards and all sorts of things like that, so they can just pop graphics up on the screen and stuff of their choice at the same time. If you're like me and you play through like a PlayStation or an Xbox, it's a lot harder to do that because you're sort of at the whim of what they've got going on. But I'm sure all of those things, like, you could always just run your PlayStation into a computer, right, or something.
But maybe if your personality is good enough, you're not going to need those gimmicks to keep people interested.
Exactly. And of course, this book is going to answer those questions about it. So I know that I am going to try to, as much as I have one day that I do the podcast, I'm going to try to have, depending on how my schedule and everything is, I'm going to try to have at least maybe a morning or an evening where I live stream, for a couple hours and play something. I'd like to be playing more current games. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But would you watch me, Chris? Would you watch me play video games?
Honestly?
Yeah, no, of course not.
No,
I wouldn't. I tuned in to watch Red one time to support. She listens to the podcast. I tuned in to support. Watching is a different thing. And then, what was strange? She was playing a game I didn't understand. Yeah. So if you tune into a game and it's midway through and you don't know the game and you're not sort of doing the tutorial or whatever, it's almost like I don't understand what the point is or what you're trying to do.
It's definitely for a crowd. It's for a certain type of person, but that's just not me.
Okay, so let's do this. Here's my thoughts.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of who is Twitch for. Originally, I was like, why would you watch the game when you can play it? So my thoughts are, my first thought, knee jerk, honestly, was poor people. I was thinking like poor kids that can't afford to buy the new games, but want to be in on the ground floor. And also kind of like maybe the camaraderie of it. So rather than just watching YouTube videos of it, where you can actually feel, and maybe loners too, right?
Here's my thought.
Yeah.
Would so the average sports fan, would you rather watch your team play on TV, or would you rather go out and play by yourself, like play the game yourself? Mm-hmm. Most people, if their team's playing, they're going to take the time to watch their team play and then maybe go play themselves. So maybe that's what it is. The people that
it's
are
like watching the best. Versus...
Yeah, they're a higher caliber, so they're watching the best. Especially when it comes to games like Call of Duty, where
that's almost like they call them cyber athletes at that point, where you're watching the best in the world to that.
E-athletes. I think that's the official term.
Okay. Well, they used to be called, I know that 15 years ago they were cyber athletes.
Yeah. I think they're trying to get away from cyber, cyber sex, cyber bullying, cyber whatever else.
I remember that we were in a league. We used to play Day of Defeat, which
I think I was actually visiting you once when you had a game lined up.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I was never into that shit. My roommate George, he was the one who showed me how to do all that stuff. But we were in, I think it was Cal was the name of the league, and it was Cyber Athlete League was what Cal stood for, and it was fun because you'd have a league like everyone would get on Ventrilo or ICQ or whatever the fuck it was back then and chat. Anyways, so we'll move past the subject. It's an interesting one to me though. Is it something that you never thought would be a thing?
Yeah.
And now watching other people play video games and making money off of it, that is.
And they're the highest money makers too out of YouTube. Well, not necessarily, but they're like, if you look at the top 10, I bet you a good portion of them would be video game streamers.
And there's another one too. Out of respect for this book, I'm not gonna plug the other one, but I think Xbox or Microsoft launched their own streaming service called something different. Again, out of respect for DK and their thing. Twitch is the bigger of the two, in my opinion.
Well, because it's pretty focused on video games. It's
as far as I know, the other one is too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it launched when Xbox One came out with like a new update or something, the service was it's built into the Xbox, and it's the one that they sort of push. But it's built by Microsoft, which is more computers. Yeah. Right. So all I can say is Twitch, guys, it's a free service that you can play on. So even if you're just playing video games anyways, why not just fire up Twitch and, hey, who knows, maybe people will watch you and, you know, make some new friends, maybe find new people to play games with. But at the same time, if you end up being somebody that people just like watching you fucking play and the goofy shit that comes in your mouth, non-racial, I hope, or sexist or prejudice or any of that kind of shit. Yeah.
It's very hard to do when you're online. It just kind of comes out of you.
God. Yeah. There's something in it that draws it out of you almost. Yeah. It's like charcoal pulls shit out of water. It's almost like online gaming pulls racism out of you, prejudices and things like that. Twitch, creating, growing, and monetizing your live stream. Great book from my partners, as always. You should check it out if you want to make money from playing video games. If you're playing video games anyways, may as well make a little money. Chris, when do you think they're going to have a live streaming service for board games?
They do. It's not a service, but there are
not
people
like Twitch.
There are people that play live, and it's actually really, really, really boring.
Yeah. You get to watch people just staring at the board.
Yeah.
The non-social.
The ones that are actually funny, that are kind of, there aren't many of them, but the ones that do have personalities, they're a bit more fun because they're, cracking jokes. Oh, they look like fun. I wish I could play with them, but there's not a lot of them.
Well, you know what I have coming up this week, Chris?
Nothing?
Tomorrow morning. Wow, that's a good guess. If you take this one thing out, then yeah, pretty much. I'm taking my mom to the hospital tomorrow to get her foot looked at.
That's fun.
How much broken it still is.
Nice.
That's about it. That's it. That's my fucking... And you know what? I'm going to finally try to get back to my taxes. I haven't done my 2018 taxes yet. So we're going to start listening to me talk about getting all that shit done. I got a lot to do this year. This was a good year. Did a lot of stuff. You even did some of those brand ambassador things with me this year.
I did.
It was a good time. What do you got going on this week, Chris? It's got a big weekend coming up, right? It's Easter.
That's it.
This is
I may be going back to work next week.
It's a farewell party for Jesus, and he came back.
Yeah. Actually, I had people knock on the door, and they're like, "Here's a piece of paper. It's we're inviting you to an event to celebrate." What did you say? The resurrection of Jesus. I can't remember.
He resurrected on the Monday, Easter.
Yeah.
That's funny. Can you imagine someone saying that to Jesus? Hey, where are you going for the long weekend? You're gonna kill me. Clearly, it wasn't a long week. If anyone's in there, it wasn't a long week until they killed. It's the whole point.
I don't think anyone's
people
saying
don't.
That.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Maybe not in that tone, but people don't get jokes.
But yeah, sometimes. So I'll be doing that. I'll be spending my weekend in Renfrew because that's where I'm forced to go.
Is it a wedding? You said?
No. The wedding isn't until May. This is Easter. I have on.
You actually have to celebrate Easter.
Well, on Good Friday.
As an atheist?
Yeah. Well, the family's not. Good Friday is my nephew's birthday.
You can explain that joke to them then.
What joke?
The one I just told a long weekend one. Jesus Christ, Chris.
Oh, I wasn't listening. Was anyone else listening?
David Pride has a great joke about how he does a joke at Easter or whatever, telling jokes at a church on Easter weekend. Everyone's like all upset. He's like, guys, come on. Who died? It was a bad Friday, that one.
So this was... great. Now I forgot the guy's name. Bulging eyeballs. Had that exact same delivery.
David Pride?
No. The way you delivered it sounded like... Yeah, sounds like... Come on. What's his name?
A guy with bulging eyes?
He's an old comedian.
Oh, you're talking about Rodney Dangerfield.
That's the one. I kept thinking Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney. That's not it.
How do you not remember
Because
Rodney
I kept thinking
Dangerfield,
Mickey Rooney.
you piece of garbage.
I'm sorry.
Rodney Dangerfield was so good.
Yeah. But that's what it reminded me of. Hey, who died? Did I do that right?
Hey, who died?
There we go.
Let me tell you, I get no respect.
There we go.
Hey, Jesus.
You got it.
You
got it, Josh.
There's the thing. I only smoke after sex. I've been on the same pack since 1972. Problem is my wife. She's up to 2 packs a day.
He doesn't sex a lot, but she sexes all the time.
She sexes all the time.
All the time.
I came home and saw a guy screwing my wife. I said, who told you could have sex with my wife? He said everybody. Hey. It's like, Rodney Dangerfield was great. Sorry. He had so many fucking great jokes. He was like Mitch Hedberg before Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, Mitch, eh?
You don't know who that is either? You're such an asshole. How do you not know anything? You don't know Scary Stories. You don't know, you didn't. Oh, this one pissed me off. Listen, we're going to tell this and then we'll shut
I pissed you off?
down. Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
Chris has seen Ghostbusters once.
Let's be fair. It could have been more than once, but it felt like once.
So as far as Chris was concerned, he says he can't watch old movies. That's when I was saying it holds up. So anyone, I may have mentioned this before, but Ghostbusters is actually going to get a Ghostbusters 3. It's being directed by Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman, who wrote and directed the originals. Ivan Reitman is a very accomplished director. As a matter of fact, so is Jason Reitman, his son.
Why is Ivan Reitman not directing this one?
I think he's just an older guy now. Like he's got to
so
be
he doesn't know
fucking.
how to do it anymore.
Yeah, he forgot. He's got the what is the film Alzheimer's.
The old timers.
The old timers. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I think just you get to a certain age, like look at Steven Spielberg. He's really not doing anything anymore. Did he direct Ready Player One or was he just a producer on it?
He directed it.
He was the director?
He was
And
worried too because it was his first time doing that style of movie also. Like a heavy CGI was his first time doing it.
Jurassic Park.
Was not heavy CGI. That was animatronic.
Animatronic.
Yeah. A large part of it was.
There was a lot of it.
The amount of green screen in it was in the special features. The amount of green screen in Ready Player One was
I
more
thought
than he's used to.
everything was just CGI when they were in the game. It's just everything's just CGI there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Steven Spielberg, man, and of course that movie was.
Yeah. No, I knew you'd bring that up.
No, I'm just leaving it alone. But I'm just saying, like when you look back at these Steven Spielberg movies, like when a movie was a Steven Spielberg movie a long time ago, that meant something.
Yeah.
Well,
Artificial intelligence.
That's not Steven Spielberg, was it?
I think so.
No, he took it over from Stanley Kubrick. It was supposed to be Stanley Kubrick, and I think Steven Spielberg did it, or someone else along the lines of that.
We don't need to know.
Oh no, we need to know.
Somebody should write in an email with the proper answer.
No, they won't do that, dude. I beg them every fucking week to send emails.
Yeah, but maybe if I ask, please.
Yeah, well, let's see. There you go. Why is Ready Player One? Oh no, that's not. That's Avengers. I was going to say, why is that already ready to go here? But that's not the one we're looking at. But what's the name of the movie? AI. Artificial intelligence. I do think you're right because as soon as you said it, I'm like, that's Stanley Kubrick. I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was in fact Steven Spielberg. And was that a great movie? Nah.
No.
Sometimes the guys just lose their fucking thing. But here's the thing. Jaws, amazing movie. Right? Amazing. And still did you please tell me you've seen Jaws? You've never seen Jaws. No. Dude, that's one of the fucking best shark movies ever. It's not hacky. It's great. It's scary as
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen a single shark movie.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Okay.
Are you afraid of sharks?
No, I just don't care
Dude,
for their
Jaws.
movies.
Jaws is a movie you gotta see. You owe it to yourself to see it. And also E.T. Have you seen E.T. or is that another one?
Oh, damn right, I've seen E.T.
Okay, well, it's been years since I've seen it. I think I saw the one where they edited out the shotguns and put like walkie-talkies in their hands because it's like, why are these
That's
guys
all you can get now.
Chasing kids with shotguns?
No, I've seen the original.
But isn't Indiana Jones Steven Spielberg? I think it's another guy, but him
George
and
Lucas.
George Lucas and Steven Spielberg were like producers. Did George Lucas? I don't even know why I bother putting down the phone when I'm talking to you. Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think it's another guy, but no, it's Steven Spielberg. Boom, nailed it. But George Lucas and Steven Spielberg worked on it together. The idea is that Steven Spielberg's had
so it was the
fuckload of
Lucasfilms.
They did work on it together, which is why the South Park episodes. Okay, another great one, Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I'm just saying, Schindler's List is another one. Yeah,
they say it's good, but I've never seen that.
I've seen most of it. But here's the thing: these are how garbage his movies have been for a long time. So Ready Player One, The Post. I haven't seen The Post, but the BFG, the Big Fucking Giant, or whatever the fuck it stands for.
Yeah, that's probably pretty close.
Bridge of Spies, Lincoln. I don't know anything about Lincoln. The Adventures of Tintin.
It was good, man.
It's not Peter Jackson.
No. Are you sure?
I'm in Steven Spielberg's director.
Oh, fuck.
61.
Why did I think it was Peter Jackson?
Tintin. I thought it was.
You
too.
know why I thought
maybe
it was Peter Jackson?
He's
I think Gollum's in it. I think Gollum might be in
Andy
it.
Serkis.
Yeah, that's the one.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was him. Munich. You know what other one kind of sucked? It was like on his way out.
No.
War of the Worlds.
Yeah. I was about to say, no, Steven Spielberg directed Tintin, but you just said that, my friend.
That's right, I did. And War Horse. So I'm just saying, like...
Peter Jackson produced.
Right. Oh, dude, I immediately thought The Terminal with Tom Hanks. There's a lot of Tom Hanks stuff. So here's the thing. This is when I saw...
Was that not one of them?
It is. I was just going to say, here's where Steven Spielberg started to fizzle out. Because obviously Jurassic Park was amazing. Hook was amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Indiana Jones, Jaws was amazing. E.T. was amazing. Close Encounters was critically acclaimed. I didn't see it. But the idea is like just all these really good movies. Here's where, in my opinion, Steven Spielberg started to taper off. Because the 90s were amazing. Hook in 91, Jurassic Park in 93, The Lost World, he directed the second one, which was okay. Mm-hmm. Wasn't horrible. It was okay. I liked it until at the end of the movie, the dinosaurs were running around in San Francisco or whatever. That's the part where it lost me. When they're on the island, I could get behind it. Did you see The Lost World?
I did. I just don't remember that part.
So in the second one, it's Jeff Goldblum's character who goes
Yeah.
back. Julianne Moore's in it. They got the little baby T-Rex.
Yeah.
Right? So when they're on the island running from things and T-Rexes and raptors, still very Jurassic Park feeling. Then they get them all into a boat, right? They get the T-Rex on a boat and the baby, and then the T-Rex is loose in San Francisco going around killing people. And it's doing the same head smash into the car that does to a boat.
How did it get to San Francisco?
They put it in a boat.
Okay. Where were they headed?
San Francisco.
Oh, they had something set up.
Or San Fran, or one of the California sort of, it could have been like San Diego or whatever. But the idea is it's now the T-Rex is running loose in a city.
Yeah.
And it just sort of lost that. I mean, it sounds stupid, but believability. But either way, it was still good enough. And at the end of it, they trick it back onto the boat.
Do you know if that was in
they lured the baby back onto the boat. The mom hears the baby crying.
Do you know if that was in the book?
I don't read.
I'm just wondering because apparently the books are pretty darn good.
I don't know if there was a.
But
second
apparently
book.
they're
I thought
also
there was Jurassic Park the book, and then they just kept making other movies.
No, I know there's a Lost World as well, but apparently they're quite different. Same general concept, but different.
I suppose I'd check it out. But all I know is then here's where I feel like Steven Spielberg started to taper off. AI was visually good. So in terms of like seeing visuals and CGI and stuff, I think AI had a lot of it personally.
I think people had a bit more, were expecting too much with AI because it was on the heels of, why can't I think of anything when I need to?
Pinocchio? It's Pinocchio.
No. Yes.
That's
It's got to
the
be
movie.
Pinocchio.
The movie's Pinocchio.
No. The M. Night Shyamalan movie, his first one.
Oh, Sixth Sense. You're talking
Sixth
about
Sense.
Haley Joel Osment or
Yeah,
whatever.
they were expecting something big out of him because, why not put all this weight on the shoulders of a 10-year-old?
Well, they did a good job. He did a good job with Catch Me If You Can.
Yes.
And that same year, he did Minority Report, which is another
Which was
visually
also
super
good.
cool movie. Yeah.
As much as I don't like Tom Cruise, I did like that
But
movie.
then it was like The Terminal in 2004, which was just a movie about Tom Hanks in a terminal.
But based on a true story.
I don't fucking know. I didn't see it.
No, I'm saying it.
And then War of the Worlds in 2005. Tom
Yeah.
Cruise again, sort of Alien-y.
That wasn't Brad Pitt?
In War of the Worlds?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of World War Z?
No, I'm not. But he, yeah. No, I do believe it was, yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
For some reason, I just thought it was Brad Pitt. Yeah, you're holding
No,
it right
it's
there.
it's War of the Worlds. Then it's like Munich, and then like a few years later, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was an abortion. And then War Horse, Tintin.
You want to get mad at me again?
No.
No, you don't want to get mad at me again? All right.
Go ahead, get mad. What haven't you seen? The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? I didn't see it until years later.
Any of them.
You've never.
Everything I know about Indiana Jones, I got from the Muppet Babies.
No wonder you like such stupid garbage.
I just don't watch old.
'Cause you don't,
Back when I was a kid, I was
Gay.
stuck to watching what my parents watched, and it wasn't Indiana
Broadway
Jones.
show tunes.
I guess so, but it wasn't.
What did your folks watch?
All the Ernest movies.
Okay, so I watched the Ernest too.
Okay.
They were funny.
They were great.
Yeah.
They didn't age very well, though.
Well, but that's the thing with kids' movies. And that's the thing too, is like sometimes
Back
you
to
see a
the
movie
Future.
when you're a kid. That's not a kid's movie. That's not a kid's movie.
No.
As a
I'm
matter
just
of
saying
fact,
that's what I watched.
you've
as a kid.
seen it. Okay. I thought you were going to say
seen
Back
them
to the Future is one that you've missed. I was going to say, I'll have to kill
A
it.
reason I don't like old movies too is Deliverance really rings a bell. There was a
You
scene.
like anal rape scenes?
I don't like those. No, it was a scene. It has a lot to do with the technical things they use, like the cameras and the sound, and what they thought they can get away with. So in one scene in Deliverance, he's holding a bow and arrow. It must have been Burt Reynolds, and he gets
Yeah.
mad and he throws it, and you clearly see it hit a big rock. It lands right on like basically a mountainside, and it makes not a sound.
Okay.
It's like, how dare you
bad
think you can
Foley
do
art.
that?
Bad
It's not.
Foley
It's not
art.
even Foley art. It's not even giving a shit. Like this thing, it doesn't make a sound. And so I just don't. And,
But you know what Foley artist is, right?
Yeah, I know. They're whacking fucking melons when you get hit in the head. They're creating.
Well,
the sound.
they basically do the background sound. Get it. Answer the phone. Tell her she's on the podcast.
No, I'm not doing that.
Why not? Answer it. You really want me to pause it? It's that bad?
No, I'm gonna. Man.
I'll pause it. You don't have to go anywhere. Oh, it's super private?
No, I just.
Fine. I'm just going to keep mouthing off about movies while Chris is that. So Chris's wife is calling. Oh, he's being louder than I am right now. So anyways, what can I tell you guys? We'll just wrap this shit up. You know what? I'd love to know what your guys' thoughts are. I feel like Steven Spielberg started to fall off after the Catch Me If You Can, Minority Report, because everything after that was like, bleh. But again, who gives a shit? I don't even know how we got to this subject, but it was Chris. Chris has not seen Ghostbusters since he was a kid. I feel like Ghostbusters was a great movie. It still holds up today. All right. He was just mentioning the Ernest movies. Yeah. Like Ernest doesn't hold up because it's a kid's movie, and when you grow up, it's not good. It's like the Ninja Turtle movies. If you guys have seen those, the live action Ninja Turtle movies, I watched them years later when I bought them on DVD. Welcome back, Chris.
It's good to be back.
I watched the Ninja Turtle movies a few years later when I bought them on DVD.
Yeah.
The first Ninja Turtles movie live action, very dark.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, still holds up.
Yeah,
It's still
I believe that.
watchable.
Yeah.
The second one, Secret of the Ooze, where they made it very lighthearted and everything like that.
Yeah.
No good. Garbage jokes, way too childish. It's silly and stupid.
Yeah.
So, campy. At the end, the ninja rap with Vanilla Ice.
Oh, that
Go
shit
ninja,
was
go
bomb.
ninja, go. It felt that way when we were kids. I've done that with a lot of movies. I've gone back and I've watched movies I loved as an adult and go,
What was criminal about criminal?
It was criminal.
What was criminal about that is that they introduced two mutant villains,
Toka
but they
and Razor that weren't Bebop and Rocksteady.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck not?
Yeah. No, well, maybe because maybe they were easier to make, or maybe they thought they
Although,
were,
again, I believe Bebop and Rocksteady were products of the cartoon and not the comic book. So maybe
so it's a rights thing.
either a rights thing or maybe this Token and whatever the hell you just
Toka
said.
and Razor.
Yeah, maybe they were in the comics. I don't know.
I don't know, but it just could be that. Well, that's the thing too, right? But like DC.
But anyone watching the movie wasn't watching it because of the comics. They were watching it because of the cartoon.
Oh, absolutely.
And the toy line.
And I think that's why maybe the first one was way too dark.
Also, they can now sell a whole bunch more toys.
Right. They can sell Bebop, Rocksteady again, Toka and Razor. And Toka and Razor both made it into the video game. As well as Bebop and Rocksteady.
Okay.
Yeah, in one of the video games, you actually fight Toka and Razor.
The only good one is Turtles in Time.
Okay. They were all good in the arcade.
Yeah.
But the console.
Did you play the
ports-
remake of Turtles in Time?
The remake?
They
that wasn't a remake. That was the arcade version. The Turtles in Time that made it onto the consoles was a scaled down version of the arcade ones.
Okay.
There was an arcade version of the first Ninja Turtles movie in the building with the fire. And at the bottom, they had really big flames and everything like that. Because obviously in an arcade, they could put more processing power. So when they scaled it down, the turtles looked shitty. There was a lot of clipping. And
So the
everything
one
like
that, I'm
Turtles in Time and the first ones were both arcade games first.
Yeah.
Amazing. And what got ported to the Nintendo,
Yeah.
much more scaled down because the system didn't have the processing power. So when
But
you're
then
talking
it
about when you're talking about the remake,
The one that came out on, I don't think it was PS4, but PS3 for probably PS3. Like they one came out on that. It was a download. Like it wasn't. It
I've
didn't have a
seen
physical copy.
emulators that have the arcade versions and they look infinitely better. But anyways, I was just getting at the fact that you haven't seen Ghostbusters. I think you owe it to yourself to watch Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2. They are movies that hold up the test of time. Still not just like, you know what, that wasn't bad. There's actually a movie. I'll throw this one out there and then I guess we'll end it. We're over the 2-hour mark.
Okay.
You don't even have to listen to this week's episode because you've already heard it. I still want. The
I'm
download,
living
though.
it.
I want you to download it and then erase it. Just for the hit. Basically, have you ever heard of the movie Some Like It Hot?
Nope.
Okay, so that's a movie with Tony Curtis, Jamie Lee Curtis's father.
Okay.
And I believe it's Jack Lemmon and Marilyn Monroe. I was
know
going to say
her.
Marilyn Manson, but no, Marilyn Monroe. And this movie is about two guys who are in hot water with like the mob.
Okay.
So what they do is they actually dress up as women and join a woman's like all women's cabaret sort of band or whatever. And in the movie, now it's a black and white movie. And I too, for the record, am very judgmental. You show me an old movie, I'm like, not interested. But I ended up watching it years ago with my mom, not when I was a kid, but teenager. And it is so fucking funny. The idea is that one of the guys starts to fall for Marilyn Monroe, but he's a woman, right? So he can't.
So it's
he can't do it.
basically
So-
that movie where the guys join the girls' sorority, or where the two black guys dress up like white chicks.
Oh, the called White Chicks.
Yeah. What was that other one?
No, but here's the thing. What happens is Tony Curtis goes to, when they're on land somewhere, he'll change his outfit, kind of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Well, change his outfit, dress like a rich guy. And so he's this rich man who's lost his feelings of love. And Marilyn Monroe's just, she loves him so much. And then the funny thing is she'll come back and she'll tell Tony Curtis's female version of himself about the great date that she just had. And of course, she's convincing her she should be with this guy. Whatever. So it's just a very funny movie about her falling in love with his alter ego and this and that. And at the same time, Jack Lemmon's character is being courted by some guy, like his female version being courted by some guy. And it's so fucking funny. Jack Lemmon has been funny for years. Okay. He was like the Walter Matthau odd couple, him and Walter Matthau.
Okay.
Jack Lemmon is a very funny comedic
Yes,
actor. Like
I know who you mean.
classic.
Was he in Grumpy
Old Man? I believe
Okay.
so. I believe so. But Jack Lemmon, he was also in a movie with Tom Selleck called like Folks or whatever, where he plays like a guy. Jack Lemmon's great.
Yeah.
I think he's dead now. But anyways,
Probably.
Some Like It Hot is an example of an old movie that still, like I've watched it a couple times since. It still holds up. It's still funny, even though it's old and it's black and white. The humor is spot on. The fucking thing is the amount of times Jack Lemmon's character tries to break up with this old guy, like at the very, very last scene of the movie, it's Jack Lemmon's character and the old man who's trying to date him, old rich guy that's trying to date him, in the boat. And it's Jack Lemmon's trying to break up, and it's like, I'm not interested in you. You know, I don't think, you know, this, that. And he's like, oh, well, that's okay. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, but this thing, da, 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 da. It's like, oh, I don't mind, da, da, da. And he just grabs the wig, pulls it off and goes, I'm a man. And he goes, nobody's perfect.
This sounds very familiar, as if there was a remake.
I don't
think I've seen the original, but a lot of it sounds extremely familiar. Maybe I have seen it then.
But it's such a funny movie that still holds up. You know what I mean? So anyways, all I can tell you is watch Ghostbusters again. Ghostbusters 3 is coming out. It does not have any of those women from the Paul Feig one. This is back to the hands of the people who created it, wrote it, loved it, appreciated it. So after all this conversation, hopefully this was good content, if nothing else, for you guys to listen to while you're working away or doing your dishes or sitting in your cubicles or whatever it is. I loves you very much, Chris.
I love me too.
Do you want anyone to... you want to say anything before we go? This week I let Chris pick the outro song, so you guys will be listening to a song that I have only heard the one time earlier today when I was downloading it for the episode.
And it's bomb diggity.
Yeah, so Chris enjoys that. Chris, anything that you want the listeners to email you about? Do you want to beg them for an email? Anything that you can think of? I asked them to send me something to see when they think Steven Spielberg started to taper off.
Oh, okay. Well, I was out there taking a phone call.
Yeah, exactly. What were you guys talking about?
I'm getting picked up. We're going to go to Costco.
Already?
To the Kissy Costco.
It's a very addictive place.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess I got to crack her down and...
Yeah.
Where's the kids?
School. She's picking the kids up and then picking me up.
Oh, okay.
They're at EDP.
Extended day program.
That's
I know
the
that
one.
is. I know that is. Okay. Well, then in that case, I'll let you go. Listen, you guys are always amazing. Thanks for listening. You can send us an email if you want to. I won't say it. It's at the beginning of the episode.
And if I try to say it, I'd fuck it up.
Do you really don't know what the email is?
I do, but I get all tongue twisted.
Give it a try.
Contact at
You did that deliberately, you piece of shit.
Contact at onemanpodcast.ca.
You did that on purpose. You did that on purpose.
.com.
Yeah.
Contact at onemanpodcast.com.
Thanks, gang. We will talk to you again next week.